Konoha, left eye Rinnegan, right eye Reincarnation. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 51 Unworthy Son. A few high-ranking Uchiha members trembled, their faces filled with unspeakable rage. That's right, that Sazanaji, Madara's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Their clan's forbidden technique had been used by an outsider, which meant that Black Zetsu had not only gouged out the Sharingan but also transplanted it into his own body. Just how much did he know about the Sharingan? What was he planning to do? Black Zetsu, I will kill you, Uchiha Tajima roared in grief and indignation, an unprecedented rage choking his chest. He understood how Black Zetsu had escaped yesterday. Years ago, Black Zetsu had infiltrated the Uchiha ancestral lands and stolen the forbidden technique scroll. If this thief wasn't eliminated, the Uchiha clan would eventually perish at his hands. Uchiha Tajima recklessly activated his main Gekkyou Sharingan, tears of blood streaming down his face. Amaterasu's black flames swept in all directions, engulfing Black Zetsu. He's gone mad. Jojuan had just replaced his worn-out Sharingan, only to have it ignited by Amaterasu again in the blink of an eye. The surrounding area was ablaze with black flames, like hellfire descending upon the world. Jojuan finally panicked, no longer daring to risk his life, and quickly burrowed underground to escape at full speed. He believed that after his prolonged delay, Kaguya's side must have been utterly defeated. Such a high-intensity use of his jutsu pushed Uchiha Tajima's main Gekkyou Sharingan to its limit. He groaned and knelt on the ground, the Susanoo surrounding him dissipating. His eyes felt like they were being pierced by steel needles, his vision blurred. Father, clan head, the crowd rushed to his side. I'm alright, I want Black Zetsu dead. Uchiha Tajima shook off his clansman's support and stumbled towards the burning Amaterasu. The miracle didn't happen. As he expected, when he put Amaterasu away, all he saw was ashes and debris. Black Zetsu was nowhere to be found. He'd escaped again. Black Zetsu, you old bastard. How can I ever kill you? Uchiha Tajima roared in despair, his voice filled with grief and rage. If he had previously felt endless hatred for Black Zetsu, now he felt fear. A formidable enemy behind the scenes, impossible to kill, truly filled him with despair. Thinking of this, Uchiha Tajima, overcome with rage, coughed up blood and collapsed. The location was still Madara's camp in the wilderness. The Uchiha clan members were completely devoid of the celebratory atmosphere of the previous night's victory feast. A sense of sorrow permeated everyone's hearts. Uchiha Tajima lay on his bed, his face weak and pale, as if he had aged 10 years in a single day. While the severe depletion of his eye power was the cause of his weakness, the mental blow was even greater. Let's return to the clan's territory, he sighed, making a helpless decision. We'll stop robbing the iron mines, stop the war, and as long as Black Zetsu lives, we Uchiha will not leave our clan territory. This was his only way to fight Black Zetsu. He couldn't buy sealing techniques from the Uzumaki clan like the Hyuga could. Madara, Izuna, and the elders stood silently by, the atmosphere heavy with resentment. They were extremely unwilling to accept this. In the past, the Uchiha were a glorious clan, the leading clan in the Land of Fire. Now, they were being suffocated by Black Zetsu, forced to live a life of humiliation in their clan territory. This was an unbearable humiliation for the proud Uchiha. Uchiha Tajima, get out here! A roar and shouts of clansmen trying to stop them from entering came from outside the camp. It's Kaguya. Go out and deal with him. Uchiha Tajima waved his hand weakly at Madara. His fighting spirit had been completely worn down by Black Zetsu. Madara nodded and walked out of the tent, followed by Izuna and the others. The newcomer was indeed Kaguya, covered in blood and looking utterly disheveled. The Kaguya clan members behind him were also draped in blood and wounds, resembling a band of wounded soldiers. My father is seriously injured and bedridden, he can't receive guests. Just tell me what you need, Madara said coldly. Seriously injured? Even if he's seriously injured, bring him out. I want him to give me an explanation, Kaguya roared. Betrayed by allies twice in a row, His anger towards the Uchiha was even stronger than towards his enemies. He had originally led 500 clansmen into battle, but after 2 days of fighting, he had less than 100 men left, with the Uchiha taking the lion's share of the credit. Madara responded indifferently, "An explanation? Do you think the Uchiha clan has it easy? Our losses are no less than yours. Your losses are entirely deserved." Kaguya showed no mercy. "Our two clans, working together, could clearly defeat the Uzumaki and Senju, yet you always run away at the crucial moment of the decisive battle. What are your intentions?" Madara frowned. "Black Zetsu appeared on the battlefield, of course we must kill him first, so you can ignore our lives, is that it?" Kaguya sneered. "Black Zetsu just gouged out your Sharingan, so what? You've already had it gouged out by him for so many years, what's one more time?" Upon hearing this, the clansmen behind Madara all showed anger, feeling that Kaguya was not speaking humanly, not being human at all. "So what? It's easy for you to talk when you're not the one suffering. I didn't say anything when my son was killed by Hashirama and Tobirama, but you can't even stand Black Zetsu gouging out 2 of your Sharingan? Can you be any more useless?" "Who are you calling useless? Watch your mouth." The Uchiha clansmen, who were already holding back their anger, exploded upon hearing this, shouting angrily. The Kaguya clan members were even more furious than they were, standing up to retort without hesitation, the air thick with tension between the two clans. "Shut up," Madara coldly commanded, his authority immense, immediately quelling the unrest. He said expressionlessly to Kaguya, "We're setting off for our clan today. We're abandoning the iron mine. Whether you Kaguya clan stays or not is up to you." "I knew it," Kaguya laughed angrily. 2 days ago you were the ones asking for my help, and now you're the ones leaving. I was blind to have chosen the wrong person to form an alliance with the Uchiha. What do you want?" "I don't want anything. Heaven sees what people do. It's not without reason that the Uchiha have been targeted by Black Zetsu." A murderous glint flashed in Madara's eyes. "The mighty Uchiha? How laughable. Let's go." Kaguya laughed mockingly 3 times, flicking his sleeves and leading his clan away, the Uchiha glaring at him angrily. "Brother," Izuna stepped forward, "should we?" Madara shook his head. He had indeed considered killing her, but with his father seriously injured, now was not the time to turn against Kaguya. Kaguya also had her concerns. Her clan had suffered heavy casualties. Otherwise, given his fiery temper, she wouldn't have just mocked him, but would have directly broken ties with her ally and started a war. Chapter 52 The Kaleidoscope is born. Clan Chief, good news. The Uchiha and Kaguya clans have retreated, a Senju scout squad reported excitedly, causing a stir in the valley. "Can you confirm this?" Senju Butsuma asked him. "Absolutely. I witnessed the 2 clans part ways. They've already retreated 10 miles from the ninja iron mine." "Ha ha ha, they're wise to be sensible." Senju Butsuma laughed heartily. "The Kaguya clan suffered heavy losses in our encirclement and annihilation. If they had continued to attack, they would have been wiped out." Uzumaki Ryu also breathed a sigh of relief, a smile playing on his lips. "In this battle, they not only defended the ninja iron mine but also suffered very few casualties, truly a resounding victory." Given Kaguya's vengeful nature, this retreat, even if it doesn't turn her against Uchiha Tajima, will definitely create a rift between them, making it difficult to maintain their alliance, Uzumaki Ryu analyzed. As an old adversary, he knew Kaguya very well. Senju Butsuma said magnanimously, "Whether they form an alliance or not is unimportant. Once the ninja iron mine falls into our hands, those 2 clans will no longer be a match for us, and they are destined to be suppressed in the future. Speaking of which, Black Zetsu is the person we should be most grateful to. If it weren't for his interference with the Uchiha clan on the battlefield, we would never have won so easily." Everyone nodded in deep agreement. They knew very well that without Black Zetsu, even if they could still win in the end, the casualties they paid would be far more severe than they have now. "Black Zetsu wasn't helping us," Uzumaki Ryu said rationally. "He's just on the opposite side of the Uchiha, plotting to seize the Sharingan, and then accidentally helped us. This person is both righteous and evil. We shouldn't be grateful to him, on the contrary, we should try our best to distance ourselves from him." Uzumaki Ryu spoke from the heart. If there was anyone in the land of fire he feared the most, it would definitely be Black Zetsu. He never dared to underestimate this person. He had a premonition that Black Zetsu was hiding in the shadows, most likely plotting a world-sinking conspiracy. The day he revealed his true colors would shock countless people. "Dad seems to think I'm all wicked," Deep underground, Zhou, who had been eavesdropping on everyone's conversation, was speechless, feeling a sense of frustration at being an unsung hero only to be wronged. Only he knew that his actions were firstly for himself, and secondly for the Uzumaki clan. That evening, to celebrate the great victory, the Uzumaki and Senju clans jointly held a victory banquet. The war was over, and all that remained was for the two clans to divide the ninja iron mine equally. Zhou wasn't in a hurry to return to the lab to fuse his eyes. Instead, he stole 2 jars of sake and a roast chicken to hide away and treat himself. Hashirama clapped his hands, using wood release to conjure hundreds of tables and chairs. This incredible carpentry skill drew admiration from everyone, even Mito's eyes gleaming with wonder. If I'd known your wood release was this good, I would have invited you to build houses when we established Uchiha, Mito joked. Hashirama, oblivious to the humor, blushed and retorted, I can go build houses in Uchiha now, no need now, most of what needed to be built is already done. Hashirama felt a pang of regret. As if his wood release had become useless. After the banquet began, Hashirama and Mito tacitly chose adjacent seats, with Tobirama acting as their wingman, constantly creating topics to liven up the atmosphere. This scene was witnessed by Zhou's demonic eyes, giving him the feeling of watching a wild boar rooting up his own cabbage, a strange sense of loss. However, despite his disappointment, Zhou didn't object. On the contrary, like Tobirama, he also wanted to matchmake his sister and Hashirama. My sister is 18, and after the new year she'll be 19. It's indeed time for her to get married, Zhou thought to himself. Girls in the Warring States period often married at 14 or 15, Mito's age was already considered an older single woman. He held Hashirama in high regard. Although Hashirama wasn't the brightest and was a compulsive gambler, his character was impeccable. No one could match the god of shinobi, and marrying him was clearly the best choice for his sister. The banquet continued into the late hours of the night. Zhou suddenly saw Mito and Hashirama leave the crowd, walking shoulder to shoulder towards a distant cliff. The cool moonlight bathed them, creating a beautiful scene. So they're already having a secret rendezvous. Zhou was taken aback, then his gossip-loving instincts ignited. Just as he was about to follow and eavesdrop on their conversation, a shadow clone in the laboratory sent him a memory message. The Mangekyou Sharingan has fused. Zhou froze, momentarily speechless. The next moment, he was thrilled. Heaven rewards the diligent. After so many years of experiments, I finally successfully fused the Mangekyou Sharingan. Overwhelmed with excitement, he no longer cared about spying on Mito and Hashirama's rendezvous and immediately fled towards the laboratory at full speed, never before so eager to return home. Half an hour later, he returned to the lab. The shadow clone left behind in the lab had self-destructed to transmit the memory information, leaving the basement empty. Zhou's gaze immediately fell on the test tube on the table. A scarlet Sharingan was floating and sinking within it. The 3 tomo within the Sharingan, originally spaced apart, were now tightly connected, forming a blade-like shape. The black parts of the tomo extended outwards, making the eye look like a beautiful flower. It really is a Mangekyou Sharingan, Zhou exclaimed excitedly, quickly taking the eye out. He was glad he hadn't given up, he had chosen the right path. This 3-tomo Sharingan had fused with hundreds of Sharingan, finally evolving into his ideal form, its internal ocular energy exceptionally strong. I wonder what the ocular technique of this Mangekyou Sharingan is, Zhou murmured to himself as he examined it. He knew perfectly well that the Mangekyou Sharingan was also known as the Eye of the Mind. The awakened ocular technique depended entirely on what the owner desired. In the original story, Uchiha wanted to create a world with Rin, but unfortunately, his eye technique lacked sufficient energy, only generating the Kamui dimension. Uchiha wanted to change his clan's mind, so he awakened Kodomatsu Kami. Uchiha craved power, so he awakened Tsukuyomi, known as the strongest mental attack, and Amaterasu, known as the strongest physical attack. However, the Mangekyou Sharingan in his possession was very special. It was artificially synthesized, and the awaken eye technique was probably determined the moment it completed its evolution, unrelated to the owner's inner desires. Ideally, it would be Kamui. If I had Kamui, the world would be vast, and no one could threaten me, Zhou dreamed and fantasized. For someone as cautious as him, the eye technique he most desired was undoubtedly Kamui, and he constantly prayed in his heart. Chapter 53 Kaleidoscope Eye Technique. The prayer was quickly completed. Zhou eagerly removed the 3-tomo Sharingan from his left eye, then installed the newly fused Mangekyou Sharingan, gently smoothing it with medical ninjutsu to reconnect the optic nerve. After doing this, he blinked, his vision clear and completely comfortable. He sincerely remarked how convenient a plug-and-play Sharingan was. Next, it's time to explore the Mangekyou Sharingan's eye techniques. Zhou took a deep breath and channeled his chakra into his left eye. The moment the chakra merged with his left eye, a strange sensation surged through him. The next moment, he understood what the Mangekyou Sharingan's eye technique was. Not Kamui. Zhou was somewhat disappointed. He had a basic understanding of the Mangekyou Sharingan's eye techniques. It had no physical attack capabilities, but directly affected the mind, capable of invading another's brain and forcibly rewriting their will. Wait? Zhou's eyes widened. Invading another's brain and rewriting their will, wasn't that Shisu's Kidomatsukami? Zhou was speechless, unsure what to say. If he had a choice, he wouldn't want this eye technique, he'd rather have Tsukuyomi or Amaterasu. Unfortunately, once the eye technique was chosen, there was no changing it unless he could fuse with another Mangekyou Sharingan. Otherwise, his reluctance was useless. After a long pause, Zhou sighed, accepting the reality and continuing to sense the nature of the eye technique. As time passed, his disappointed expression gradually turned strange. With a deeper understanding of the Mangekyou Sharingan, he discovered something amiss. His eye technique was different from Kidomatsukami. In the original story, Shisu's Kidomatsukami could permanently alter the will of others, earning it the title of the strongest Jinjutsu. However, his eye technique could only temporarily alter the will of others, the rewriting time varying from about half an hour to 10 minutes depending on the opponent's mental strength. The original Kidomatsukami required a waiting period of over 10 years after each change of will before the eye power could be restored and used again. This was the main reason Zhou rejected this eye technique. The cooldown time was too long, a despairingly long one. However, his kaleidoscope eye technique only required a 10-day cooldown to recover its power after each use, a much shorter time than Kidomatsukami's. Is it because the kaleidoscope is artificially synthesized that the eye technique differs from the original Kidomatsukami? Zhou pondered. I'm not as strong as Shisu, but my cooldown is shorter. This thought felt a bit strange. As the saying goes, every gain has its loss. When one door closes, another opens. While his eye technique wasn't as abnormally powerful as Kidomatsukami's, its cooldown time was far superior. Phew, Zhou breathed a sigh of relief. Compared to Kidomatsukami, he preferred his weaker, shorter-lasting eye technique. A 10-day cooldown was perfectly acceptable. Before formal battle, I really want to test the power of my eye technique. After all, my current understanding of eye techniques is only superficial. Only through personal experience can I gain a true understanding. Zhou was like a child who had received a new toy, eager to show it off. Just then, an earthworm, about 10 centimeters long, slowly crawled past his feet. Zhou stared at the earthworm for a moment, then a bold idea suddenly popped into his head. His eye technique could not only change the will of people, but also the will of animals. Why not give it a try? Zhou focused his attention on the earthworm, his kaleidoscope eye power rapidly dissipating, his spirit penetrating the earthworm's brain through his gaze, rewriting its thoughts. You want to play badminton? You want to play badminton? He also poured the rules and concepts of badminton into the earthworm. The earthworm, which had been crawling along peacefully, suddenly stopped in its tracks. The next moment, its body twisted violently, snapping itself in two. The left segment of the earthworm held a clump of mud in its mouth and forcefully spat it at the right segment, while the right segment flicked its tail to knock the mud ball back. And so, back and forth, the two segments of the earthworm played a unique badminton game. The scene was quite magical. Zhou watched with great interest for a while, then activated his eye technique again. You want to play mahjong? You want to play mahjong? Just like with badminton, he poured all the rules and concepts of mahjong into the earthworm. The two earthworm segments paused briefly, then twisted violently again, breaking themselves into 4 pieces. The 4 earthworm segments clumsily piled up clods of mud, trying to build a mahjong set. Zhou continued to modify their thoughts. You want to play football? You want to play football? The 4 earthworm segments were stunned. This time, they paused for a while. A few seconds later, the 4 earthworm segments began to twist vigorously, dividing into 8, then 16, then 32. When it reached 32 segments, The once healthy earthworm had turned into mincemeat, struggling weakly, on the verge of death. Seeing this, Jojuan quickly stopped his wicked act, picked up a lump of minced meat, placed it on the operating table, used chakra needles to sew up the earthworm's 32 segments, and used medical ninjutsu to heal its injuries. After working for over 10 minutes, the earthworm finally came to life. Feeling like it had fallen into the devil's hands, it leaped off the operating table and burrowed into the soil to escape. How quite interesting. Jojuan was quite satisfied with the process, gaining a more comprehensive understanding of the nature of eye techniques. I'll name this eye technique Minor Farewell to Heaven, he decided to himself. While Minor Farewell to Heaven wasn't as survivable as Kamui, it could play a unique role in certain situations and was certainly qualified to be one of his trump cards. It's a pity that one Mangekyou Sharingan isn't enough to activate Susanoo, at least two are needed. Thinking of Susanoo, Jojuan felt regret again. The power of Susanoo was undeniable. A Mangekyou Sharingan without Susanoo was essentially half useless. He could only pin his hopes on the second Mangekyou Sharingan. With the experience of the first one, Jojuan believed the next Mangekyou Sharingan wouldn't take long to fuse. Now that the Mangekyou Sharingan has appeared, how far behind can the Rinnegan be? His heart burned with fervor, eagerly anticipating the Rinnegan. Even if it meant squandering all his Sharingan reserves, he had to forge one. Otherwise, relying solely on the Mangekyou Sharingan, he still wouldn't have the qualifications to survive in this chaotic world. Speaking of which, the fusion of the Sharingan has yielded significant results, but the Byakugan remained stagnant. He walked to another test tube containing an eye emitting a pure white light, like an incandescent bulb. This eye, too, had fused with hundreds of Byakugan, no less numerous than the Mangekyou Sharingan, yet it hadn't undergone any qualitative change. Unlike the Sharingan, which has clear evolutionary levels like Tomo, Mangekyou Sharingan, Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, and Rinnegan, the Byakugan relies on accumulating quantity, a quantitative change leading to a qualitative leap, directly fusing into the Tenseigan in one step. Chapter 54 The Land of Fire Shakes. Next, Jojuan replaced the demon eye in his right eye with a Byakugan from the test tube. As expected, this Byakugan was simply more powerful than a regular Byakugan, allowing for greater penetrating vision, but had no other abilities. In the original story, the Tenseigan has three color forms, light purple, yellow, and blue. This Byakugan was so pure white that it was clearly not the Tenseigan yet. The fusion wasn't complete and needed further improvement. The problem was that his Byakugan inventory was running low, with only a dozen or so left. If even these last Byakugan failed to fuse into Tenseigan, he would have to stop the experiment. A living person won't die from holding the P. Let's just take it one step at a time, Jojuan sighed, his joy at obtaining the kaleidoscope fading somewhat. The next day at noon, the second elder of the Uzumaki clan returned to Whirlpool Village with several clansmen, bringing the villagers news of their victory on the battlefield. Great! Kaguya and the Uchiha's allied forces have been defeated. Thank you, Chief Dragon, for protecting our peace. If it weren't for the Uzumaki clan members risking their lives on the battlefield, we would be refugees again. The civilians were overjoyed by this good news. They were all unfortunate people who had suffered greatly from war, and they cherished their current peaceful days immensely. Their sense of belonging to Uzumaki village even surpassed that of the Land of Fire. Ashina, however, was a little bewildered. He had just brought back the wounded that morning and was preparing to rush to the ninja iron mine to provide support, but he hadn't expected the war to end so quickly. He hurriedly went to the second elder to inquire about the situation. The second elder already regarded him as the next clan chief and naturally didn't hide anything, telling him in detail about the battle of the past 2 days. It was Black Zetsu who helped us. Ashina's thoughts were complicated. He couldn't help but recall the day he was tricked into a social death by Black Zetsu's fart, and his face burned with shame. After thinking it over, he decided to seek comfort from his second brother. The second elder hadn't simply returned to report good news, he also needed to gather a group of people to mine the ninja iron mine. The mine was enormous, and the sooner it was mined, the better. The villagers eagerly volunteered, all wanting to contribute to Uchiha village. After an afternoon of recruitment, the second elder ultimately took 8,000 able-bodied men with him, while the rest remained in Uchiha village to continue working. News of the Uzumaki and Senju clans' decisive victory over the Kaguya Uchiha alliance spread like wildfire throughout the Land of Fire, causing a stir among the ninja clans. Just 3 months ago, When the Uzumaki clan established Uzashio village to shelter civilians, no ninja clan had any faith in it, believing that Uzumaki Ryu was courting disaster. Unexpectedly, 3 months later, the anticipated food crisis never materialized. Uzashio village had grown from nothing to a thriving community, even inflicting heavy losses on its enemies on the battlefield, giving the impression of imminent takeoff. I underestimated Uzumaki Ryu. He saw further than I did, the Sarutobi clan chief exclaimed in amazement in the Sarutobi village. He must have been secretly accumulating resources for many years to have the confidence to take in civilians. Although Uzashio village has tens of thousands of people now, after 3 months of settling down, it can already achieve basic self-sufficiency. Give him another year or two, and he can train a ninja army. The thought of an army composed of tens of thousands of civilian ninjas made the Sarutobi clan chief gasp. It was a terrifying force capable of sweeping through the land of fire. Sarutobi Sasuke, standing beside him, was also moved. Father, how about we follow the Uzumaki clan's example and establish a village to take in civilians? The Sarutobi clan chief shook his head. It's too late to follow suit now. Not only do we need to secretly accumulate resources for years, but the number of refugees in the land of fire is limited, and almost all of them have entered Uzashio village. Even if we build a village, not many people will come to join us. Then how about we unite with other ninja clans to besiege Uzashio village? Otherwise, if we wait a few more years and Uzashio village becomes the sole power, no ninja clan will be spared. A fierce glint flashed in Sarutobi Sasuke's eyes. The Sarutobi clan chief pondered, to defeat Uzashio village, we must unite with a powerful ninja clan. The Kurama clan is our sworn enemy. We cannot ally with them. The Hyuga clan recently received a favor from Uzumaki Ryu, so they are unlikely to attack Uzashio village. The Senju clan is an ally of Uzumaki. They cannot be persuaded. The Kaguya clan suffered a major defeat and is severely weakened, making them ineffective. The Uchiha clan is wary of Black Zetsu. They will crumble the moment Black Zetsu appears. The more the Sarutobi clan chief pondered, the more alarmed he became. He realized with horror that, for various reasons, he had no powerful ninja clans to ally with. Without powerful ninja clans, relying solely on smaller clans like the Ino Shikacho trio, Namikaze, Hatake, and Inuzuka, they would certainly not be able to overcome the formidable Uzashio village. On the contrary, with a single call from Uzumaki Ryu, the Senju and Hyuga clans would become his allies. The small Uzashio village had grown into the overlord of the land of fire in just 3 months. It was truly terrifying. Kurama clan territory. Just who exactly is Black Zetsu? The Kurama clan chief frowned, deep in thought. He was frustrated. He had just received intelligence about the ninja iron mine today and was planning to gather his clansmen to go and get a share, but then he received news of Kaguya and the Uchiha's crushing defeat. He couldn't believe that the two great ninja clans could collapse in just 2 days. Surely they could hold out for at least 10 days to 2 weeks. With this doubt in mind, he sent people to investigate in detail and finally learned that Black Zetsu is the main reason for the two clans' rapid collapse. With the Uchiha and Kaguya defeated, there was no point in him going to fish in troubled waters anymore. He would only be beaten mercilessly by the Uzumaki and Senju. Father, could Black Zetsu be a member of the Uzumaki clan? After all, they benefited the most from this battle. Once they got their hands on the ninja iron mine, they would have enough resources to strengthen Uzashio village, Kurama-ichi suggested. Impossible, the Kurama clan chief immediately rejected. Black Zetsu is not only an enemy of the Uchiha, but also of the Hyuga. If he is a member of the Uzumaki clan, his Sharingan and Byakugan would definitely be able to see through his disguise. Kurama-ichi thought about it and agreed. A mere transformation technique could not fool the eye techniques of those two clans. However, he vaguely felt that he had overlooked something very important and was about to delve deeper into it when he said, according to my analysis, Black Zetsu is not from the land of fire. He should be a ninja from another country who came to our land of fire to disrupt the situation, the Kurama clan chief said. Father is right, Kurama-ichi agreed. The land of fire is currently embroiled in civil war, making it highly susceptible to being coveted by other countries. It's quite possible they were sending a mysterious ninja to stir things up, the Kurama clan chief continued. Regardless of Black Zetsu's true identity, if we encounter him and can't kill him, we should try our best to show him goodwill and see if we can win him over to our side. In the near future, we shouldn't cause trouble for Uzashio village. Instead, We should quickly annex the surrounding smaller ninja clans to strengthen our power. Just as Uzumaki Dragon is annexing civilians, we'll annex the smaller ninja clans. Let's see who develops faster. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Tokens of Love. Jojuan knew that after the battle at the Ninja Iron Mine, the name Black Zetsu would officially enter the sights of the various clans' higher-ranking officials, attracting widespread attention. Previously, Black Zetsu was merely a minor troublemaker, and most clans treated him with amusement. Now, however, Black Zetsu had earned the respect of the clans, as he was someone who could influence the Uchiha clan. Therefore, Jojuan refrained from causing trouble during this period, staying quietly in the village to bide his time. He was confident that no one would associate Black Zetsu with him, not even the real Black Zetsu. The real Black Zetsu, after escaping, was probably still lurking in the shadows, gathering intelligence on Black Zetsu. Jojuan wasn't worried about him causing any trouble, at least he posed no threat to Uchiha village. Second brother, I hate Black Zetsu. He made me lose face in front of father and the elders. I'll definitely kill him someday, Ashina complained to his second brother, cursing angrily. Jojuan said dryly, it's not that serious, it's not that serious. Black Zetsu helped us win the Ninja Iron Mine. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. There's no need to harbor too much hostility towards him. Then he thought, what if his younger brother encounters the real Black Zetsu in the future? Of course, if you're really angry, you might as well teach Black Zetsu a lesson next time you see him, as revenge, Jojuan said seriously. That's right, this is my personal grudge with him, Ashina waved his fist, his still childish face looking fierce. By the way, big brother, I encountered a very strange thing during this battle. My shadow clone actually used the giant Rinnegan that I can't use. I can't figure it out no matter how hard I try, Ashina said the question that had been bothering him recently. He hadn't even told his father and older sister about the strange change in his shadow clone. Jojuan feigned a moment of contemplation. From a ninjutsu theory perspective, this isn't surprising. The shadow clone possesses all your memories and knowledge. The reason it could use the great Rinnegan is because you yourself mastered this ninjutsu. At the time, you were engaged in a life-or-death battle with Kaguya Koto, and your emotions were inevitably affected, causing your mind to become restless, which prevented you from successfully using the ninjutsu. Your shadow clone, however, was free from distractions and unaffected, thus successfully using the great Rinnegan. But why didn't I receive any memories from that shadow clone after it disappeared? Ashina asked again. Jojuan calmly explained, didn't I say that the shadow clone was free from distractions? Since it had no distractions, it naturally wouldn't have any memories. I see. I knew it, Ashina slapped his thigh, suddenly understanding. Jojuan smiled faintly, thinking how easily his silly younger brother could be fooled. Second brother, you're so clever. Problems I couldn't understand no matter what you did, you solved them so easily, Ashina said sincerely. At the same time, he was also very regretful. His second brother's wisdom was unmatched, but unfortunately, his brother lacked the talent for cultivation. Otherwise, he would have been a perfect combination of wisdom and courage. What you need to do now is to clear your mind of distractions and keep your heart pure. If you cultivate in this state for a few days, you will be able to completely master the great Rinnegan. Second brother's advice is right. I can't lose to shadow clone, it's too embarrassing. I'm going to cultivate now. With that, Ashina hurriedly ran off. Jojuan smiled nonchalantly, lying flat on the grass with a dog's tail between his teeth. The dazzling sunlight shone on his face, making him squint slightly as he enjoyed the rare afternoon. Now that the war was over and the main Gekkai Sharingan was developed, there was nothing to be anxious about. If only life could continue like this peacefully. Half a month passed in this leisurely manner. During this time, something happened that made Jojuan very upset. His Byakugan reserves were completely depleted. What was even more upsetting than the depletion of reserves was that the Tenseigan had not yet been fused. Jojuan's anxiety returned, but there was nothing he could do. Aside from a few individuals like Hyuga Tenfu, Hyuga Tenin, and Hyuga Rika, the rest of the Hyuga clan had been cursed with a caged bird jutsu. If they died on the battlefield, their Byakugan would be destroyed instantly, without even a chance to be removed. Jojuan could only temporarily shelve his Tenseigan project, thinking that if the opportunity arose later, he might try to find a way to obtain the Tenseigan on the moon. Half a month later, Uzumaki Rai finally finished mining the ninja iron mine and led his clan back to Uzashio village. Their return was a grand affair. Tens of thousands of villagers gathered at the village entrance, eagerly awaiting their arrival. Flowers flew, cheers resounded, welcoming their victorious warriors. In that instant, Uzumaki Rai felt like an emperor to these people, and they were all his subjects. With a single call, he could lead them away from the land of fire. The next moment, Uzumaki Dragon shook his head. Thinking of establishing a nation before the village was even finished was incredibly ambitious. Even he himself didn't understand how such a bold idea could suddenly arise. In the crowd, Jojuan, cheering with his younger brother, smiled meaningfully. The little Fathom God was unexpectedly useful. Although it couldn't permanently change someone's will like the true God, it could guide them to make decisions they didn't originally want to make at crucial moments. If he hadn't withdrawn his power in time, his father would probably be shouting wildly, "My little ones, daimyo is useless. Join me in rebelling against the land of fire and let's do it." After Mito returned home, Jojuan noticed a significant change in his sister. Before, as their father's secretary, she was always busy and overwhelmed with village affairs, neglecting her appearance. Over time, this inevitably led to a quick temper and blunt, uncompromising speech. But since returning from the iron mine, she had become more cheerful, in a much better mood, and spoke much more gently and softly when instructing the clan. Furthermore, she always dressed beautifully before going out. Jojuan became very curious and wanted to know what her sister had experienced during the 2 weeks at the ninja iron mine. Could it be that love had taken its toll on her? That seemed unlikely. Could that coward Hashirama really have confessed his feelings to Miro in just 2 weeks? With this doubt in mind, Jojuan secretly observed her sister for 2 days and finally noticed something. Mito was wearing a wooden pendant on her waist, something she hadn't worn before, and it was engraved with a 1,000-armed Buddha. "Sister, did Hashirama give you this pendant?" Jojuan asked directly, almost like an interrogation. Mito was startled. "Why are you asking that? It's made of wood and it's about a Buddha. It's obviously related to Hashirama. Why would he give you something like this? It's normal for friends to exchange gifts," Mito argued, her voice lacking confidence. "This isn't right. When we became sworn brothers, he didn't give me anything, but he gave you this pendant." Jojuan paused, then suddenly lowered her voice. "Sister, I suspect that brother Hashirama has ulterior motives towards you. Could he have given the pendant as a token of his love?" Chapter 56 Proposal. "Nonsense." Mito, her secret exposed, was furious and embarrassed. She raised her hand and smacked her brother's scalp twice before turning and leaving. Jojuan grimaced, clutching his head, thinking that things were getting complicated. Hashirama was a simpleton, and Mito was a proud and aloof person. If they were allowed to develop their relationship freely, they would probably remain stuck on this unspoken understanding for a long time, neither willing to take the initiative to break through. At this point, they needed someone to give them a push. But this was a difficult task for Jojuan to do. He couldn't very well tell Mito, "Sister, Hashirama is your soulmate. Hurry up and have father come and propose marriage." If he did that, his older sister would probably choke him out. Girls should indeed be reserved and not rush into things. "I just hope that Hashirama will come to his senses soon and marry his wife," Jojuan thought to himself. The eldest sister is like a mother. When they were little, Mito always raised her younger brother like a son, and Jojuan naturally hoped for her well-being as well. He felt that whether in the 21st century or the Warring States period, a girl's ultimate destiny was to marry and start a new family. His sister's early marriage meant early happiness. Senju clan territory. "Look, young Master Hashirama is sitting on the edge of the cliff. Keep your voice down, don't disturb young Master Hashirama." Since returning from the ninja mine, young Master Hashirama has often been alone. He must be contemplating the clan's hegemony. As the young clan leader, it's truly difficult for young Master Hashirama. He carries a burden unimaginable to ordinary people. Several young Senju girls discussed the solitary figure on the cliff edge. Tobirama passed by them, sighing inwardly, thinking, "Don't flatter your eldest brother. He doesn't have any burdens, he's just daydreaming about women." Leaping up the mountain in a few steps, Tobirama used the body flicker technique to appear behind him. Hashirama noticed the commotion and turned around. Seeing his younger brother, Tobirama smiled and said, Tobirama, you're here, big brother, can you tell me what you're thinking about? Tobirama asked leisurely. I'm thinking about Mito. He was indeed thinking about a woman. After parting at the Shinobi Iron Mine, I wonder when I'll see her again. Hoshirama's tone was filled with reluctance and anticipation. Tobirama ruthlessly shattered his fantasy. There won't be a next time. You'll never see Miro again. What? Hoshirama exclaimed in surprise. Big brother, think about it. Mito is 18 this year, beautiful and outstanding. With her father's cunning nature, he'll definitely want to find a son-in-law to live with him, Tobirama analyzed for him. This time when we return to Uzashio village, Uzumaki Rai will definitely arrange a marriage for her. Otherwise, if it drags on any longer, Mito will be too old. So, big brother, either you'll never see Miro again, or even if you do, she'll already be married. This analysis was as sharp as a tiger, leaving Hoshirama speechless with shock. After a long pause, he hurriedly asked for help. Tobirama, please teach me, what should I do? Of course, you should propose marriage. Tobirama sighed, thinking that his older brother's wood-release training had turned his brain into a block of wood. If you like her, just go for it. It's not like you don't have the means. I don't know what you're so afraid of. Tobirama said earnestly, brother, listen to me. If you really like Mito, quickly ask father to propose marriage for you. Whether it works out or not is just a matter of a word. Don't wait until she's actually married and then regret it for the rest of your life. Hoshirama was silent for a long time, then suddenly mustered his courage and stood up. Okay. I'll listen to you. Tobirama smiled. You should have done this a long time ago. Let's go find father now. Without further ado, the two brothers didn't waste a moment and immediately headed to the clan head's building. Senju Batsuma was handling official business in his office when he caught two figures enter out of the corner of his eye. Without even looking up, he casually asked, "What's up?" "It's important," Tobirama said with a serious face. "Father, my elder brother wants you to help him propose marriage." "Oh?" Senju Batsuma paused in his work, finally looking up in surprise. "Whose daughter has he taken a fancy to?" Tobirama gestured for his elder brother to answer, and Hoshirama blushed as he said, "It's Mito." "Good lad." Senju Batsuma slapped his thigh, "As expected of my son. I've had my eye on Mito for a long time. Since you're interested too, I'll take you to find Uzumaki Ryu." The two brothers were stunned, somewhat taken aback. Little did they know, as the jewel of the Uzumaki clan, Mito was renowned far and wide. Senju Batsuma had long admired her and was considering betrothing her to his son, but he hadn't figured out how to approach Uzumaki Ryu. That old fox definitely wanted to keep his daughter in the clan. Now that Hoshirama had spoken, things were much better. Since his son also liked her, they could simply and openly propose marriage. Uzumaki Ryu, wouldn't find fault with that. "What are you standing there for? Go prepare some valuable gifts." Oh, the two brothers seemed to snap out of their daze. That evening, Uzashio village welcomed a group of uninvited guests. The Senju clan, the closest allies of the Uzumaki clan, had arrived. The Uzumaki clan members guarding the village entrance dared not neglect them, informing Uzumaki Ryu while leading them to the clan head's residence. Along the way, looking at the prosperous and vibrant street scene, Hoshirama and Tobirama, like country bumpkins entering the city, displayed a strong sense of disbelief. For a moment, they even thought they had arrived in the capital of the Land of Fire, finding it hard to believe that this was just Uzashio village, built in less than 4 months. Whirlpool Dragon is indeed quite capable. Thousand-handed Batsuma clicked his tongue in amazement. He had to admit that Whirlpool Dragon was far more competent as the clan leader than he was. He had built a towering edifice from scratch, and his methods and strategies in all aspects surpassed his own, while his intellect was inherited from his eldest son. Ha! At the end of the street, Whirlpool Dragon walked towards him with a loud laugh. "Brother Batsuma, what brings you here today?" Thousand-handed Batsuma muttered to himself, then smiled broadly. "I came to see how your Whirlpool clan's territory has become." "Impressive, Brother Dragon. In less than 4 months, Whirlpool Village is almost on par with the capital." "Just a small matter," Whirlpool Dragon said modestly. "If it's not urgent, let's talk at my residence." He knew perfectly well that Thousand-handed Batsuma was a man who wouldn't visit unless there was a reason. When Whirlpool Village was first established, he had only sent a batch of provisions, never personally visiting once. As the sun began to set, the group arrived at the clan head's residence. Mito, Jojuan, and the three Ashina siblings were having dinner in the courtyard when they were surprised to see Batsuma and the others enter. "Brother Hashirama, Brother Tobirama, what brings you here?" Jojuan greeted them, rising to greet them. "We came to talk to my father about something," Tobirama said with a smile. Hashirama blushed crimson, stealing glances at Mito. His breath caught sight of the pendant at her waist, and he gasped. "Mito, go and cook a few more dishes. Tonight, clan head Batsuma and I are drinking until we drop," Uzumaki Ryu instructed his daughter. Chapter 57 Keep the good stuff within the family. "Okay," Mito obediently went to the kitchen. Batsuma, watching her graceful figure, praised her without reservation. "Brother Ryu, you've truly raised a fine daughter. She's capable both in the public sphere and on the battlefield. There's no girl in the land of fire more outstanding than Mito." Ryu, hearing this, couldn't help but feel proud. His daughter was indeed beautiful and intelligent, and also his most capable deputy, having relieved him of countless burdens over the years. The two then began to chat, discussing everything from the internal affairs of their two clans to the situation in the land of fire, and then expanding to several neighboring countries, displaying an air of expert knowledge. Jojuan and Ashina should have left after their meal, but Ryu didn't send them away, and they themselves were curious about the Senju clan's sudden visit, so they naturally stayed to listen to their elders' conversation. A dozen minutes later, Mito returned with a sumptuous meal. The aroma was irresistible even before the dishes were served. "Mito's cooking is superb. This table is a feast for the eyes, nose, and palate. Whoever marries you will be in for a treat," Batsuma said with a chuckle. Jojuan glanced thoughtfully at Hashirama, whose face was flushed, as if he knew why they had come. "Hashirama, Tobirama, Mito, and Jojuan have become sworn siblings, so we're practically family. Don't be shy, come and eat with us," Batsuma warmly invited. Uzumaki Ryu was taken aback, feeling like he was a guest in the Senju clan's territory. The old man was, to put it nicely, bold and unrestrained, to put it bluntly, shameless, Uzumaki Ryu thought to himself. Batsuma took out the fine wine he had brought. Except for Ashina, who was underage and couldn't drink, he poured a bowl for everyone present, spouting flattering words and laughing heartily as he poured. After a few rounds of drinks, Batsuma finally revealed his true intentions. "Brother Ryu, to tell you the truth, I've come to Uzumaki village to propose marriage for my good-for-nothing son." Uzumaki Ryu's hand trembled, spilling a lot of wine. Mito's beautiful eyes widened at first, then, like Hashirama, her cheeks flushed rapidly, and she lowered her head shyly, unable to look at anyone. The main event was about to begin, and Jojuan secretly cheered. Batsuma continued with a smile. "My niece Miro is hailed as one of the 7 heroes of the Warring States period, a true prodigy. I imagine Brother Long has been quite troubled these past few years, unsure how to choose a husband for her. Now there's no need to worry anymore. My son, Hashirama, is also one of the 7 heroes of the Warring States period, and the young clan leader. He's a sure thing to become the next Senju clan leader. He and Mito are a perfect match. The two of them are simply too good to pass up. Moreover, given the relationship between our two clans, a marriage alliance would strengthen our ties even further, ensuring the good fortune stays within the family." To hell with the good fortune staying within the family, Uzumaki Long frowned. According to his original plan, finding Mito as son-in-law was the best way to keep the good fortune. His daughter was too outstanding, so outstanding that he couldn't bear to let her marry. "Is the marriage proposal your idea, or Hashirama's?" he asked. With a wink from Buddha, Hashirama quickly interjected, "Uncle Dragon, it's my own decision. I love Mito. And after we marry, I will protect her with my life and never let her suffer." Though clumsy with the words and unable to utter sweet nothings, this bold declaration was enough. Seeing the steam rising from his sister's head, Jojuan's heart was probably pounding. Uzumaki Dragon pondered for a long time, as if consulting with elders, first looking at his second son. "Jojuan, what do you think about your sister's marriage to Hashirama?" "Jojuan, I'll just sit and watch." Uzumaki Dragon was speechless, resisting the urge to hang his second son with the Vajra chains and whip him, then looked at his youngest son, Ashina. "What do you think?" Ashina, after a long pause, gritted his teeth and glared at Hashirama. "I treat you like an older brother, and you actually want to sleep with my sister." PFFT, Jojuan spat out a mouthful of wine. Everyone fell silent. Unable to glean any useful advice from his two sons, Uzumaki Ryu had no choice but to ask Mito herself, "What do you think?" "My marriage is entirely up to father," Mito replied shyly. Uzumaki Ryu's expression was complex. How could he not understand his daughter's girlish demeanor? She clearly liked Hashirama very much. He had sensed their growing closeness at the ninja iron mine recently, and his worries had indeed come true. So be it. For over a decade, he had never cared for his children, showing no fatherly responsibility. This was the last time he would let his daughter pursue her happiness. Besides, Hashirama was indeed a rare young talent. It would be difficult to find a better match. After a few sighs, Uzumaki Ryu finally stopped hesitating and nodded slightly. Then let her marry me, ha ha ha. But Suma laughed heartily. Brother Ryu, you're really something. Don't worry, from now on your daughter is my daughter. Whoever makes Mito unhappy is making me unhappy. Upon hearing this, Uzumaki Ryu wasn't reassured. Instead, his face darkened. He felt a sense of frustration, like the cabbage he had painstakingly cultivated for 18 years had been snatched away by someone else without lifting a finger, and he would have to serve another family from then on. Thinking about this made him feel even worse. Then Batsuma talked about the specific details of the wedding, including but not limited to the dowry. The younger generation had no say in these matters and listened attentively. In the Warring States period, love between men and women was not pretentious at all. People married on a whim. If Jojuan and Hyuga Rika had agreed on their marriage in the first place, it would have been finalized within a day or two. Jojuan knew that there were many factors involved in her father's agreement to her sister's marriage. First, it was fortunate that the Kaguya clan had been defeated, otherwise, with a powerful enemy watching closely, Mito, as the elite fighter of the Uzumaki clan, would have been unable to leave. Even if Uzumaki Ryu had agreed, her clan would not have. Secondly, the other party was the Senju clan, and a marriage alliance would strengthen the ties between the two clans. If the Uzumaki clan were to face a great calamity in the future, Mito would definitely lead her husband's family to support her own family, rather than a married daughter being like water spilled and never to return. The drinking continued until late at night before Batsuma and Uzumaki Ryu finalized the wedding arrangements. There was no need to choose an auspicious day. The Senju clan could simply come to pick up the bride in 3 days. It's getting late, Jojuan. Take Batsuma and the others to the guest house to rest, Uzumaki Ryu instructed. Yes, Uncle Ryu, please follow me. Having resolved his son's lifelong matter, Batsuma was refreshed and laughed heartily as he bid farewell to Uzumaki Ryu and Mito. A vein throbbed faintly on the dragon's forehead. For some reason, looking at Tobirama's smug expression, he felt an inexplicable urge to kick him away. It was a pity the old man didn't have a daughter as talented as Mito, otherwise, he would have made him taste the pain of marrying off his daughter. Brother Jojuan, from now on we are truly family. After leaving the clan head's mansion, Tobirama put his arm around Jojuan's shoulder and winked at him. Chapter 58 Beast. Third brother Tobirama, you've kept this from me for so long, Jojuan said with a wry smile. So, it turns out you weren't truly sworn brothers with me at the palace that day. You were after my sister. He had the least right to say that. Tobirama said nonchalantly, you can't say that. Sworn brotherhood is sworn brotherhood, marriage is marriage. They can't be mixed up. Besides, what's a sworn brother compared to a brother-in-law? Hashirama was embarrassed, feeling his wolfish ambitions exposed, nodding his head like a chicken pecking at rice. Jojuan sighed, when suddenly a smug old man slapped him hard on the back. Ha ha ha, speaking of which, nephew Jojuan is of marriageable age. After the wedding, stay in the Senju clan's territory for a while. There are plenty of good girls there. I'll be your matchmaker. Batsuma thumped his chest, expressing his full concern for his brother-in-law. Then no need, Jojuan chuckled dryly. The Senju clan was known for their immense strength, regardless of gender, and his small frame couldn't withstand the rough treatment of a Senju girl. A domineering and assertive girl like Hyuga Rika was out of the question, as were delicate girls and those who weren't pretty. In short, Jojuan's standards for a partner were quite high. The guest house was located near the clan head's building, specifically for accommodating envoys from other ninja clans. A short while later, Jojuan escorted the three to their destination, then bid farewell and went home. The moment he stepped into his house, he saw Ashina clinging tearfully to Miro's leg. Sister, are you really going to marry Hashirama and go back to the Senju clan territory with him? Uzumaki Ryu ate the leftovers on the table, ignoring his youngest son's cries. Even if you marry out, I'll come back to see you often, Mito comforted him gently. Ashina pouted, my second uncle's cousin went to another place and married a commoner. She only comes back twice a year. My second uncle is so angry that he calls her a money loser, boo-hoo. Although Ashina was young, he knew what marriage meant. He had lost his mother at a young age, and his father was too busy to take care of him. He was raised by his older sister and brother. He couldn't accept that his sister, who had always been by his side, was marrying someone else and starting a family elsewhere. Overwhelmed with grief, he cried his eyes out. "Sister, please don't marry Hoshirama, okay? There are so many people in the village, anyone can marry, why does she have to marry Hoshirama?" Boo-hoo, the thought of not seeing his sister twice a year made him very sad. "Sweetie, don't cry," Mito comforted him, but his own nose started to sting. "Silly Ashina, it's a good thing that my sister is marrying Hoshirama. Don't ruin it." Jojuan stepped forward and said helplessly. Ashina turned his head and looked at him, sniffling. "The Senju clan's territory isn't far from us, we can go back and forth in a day. Whenever you miss your older sister, just take a little time to go there and stay for 10 days or half a month. It's no different from staying in Yuzashio village." Ashina was taken aback, but after thinking about it carefully, what her second brother said seemed to make a lot of sense. "Sister, can I go to the Senju clan's territory often in the future?" Ashina looked up and asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Of course you can," Mito chuckled. "Then it's alright." Ashina let go of her hand and rubbed her eyes, no longer feeling sad. Instead, she felt a strange sense of having a home in the Senju clan's territory. "You and your second brother will also marry a girl in the future, just like me getting married." "It's normal," Mito said. "It's late, go and rest, okay?" Ashina happily ran back to the house. Just as Jojuan was about to go back to his room to sleep, Whirlpool Dragon suddenly slammed down his bowl and chopsticks. "Stop!" Jojuan jumped in fright. "What's wrong, father? Didn't you like someone?" "Now that the situation in Whirlpool Village is much more stable, I'll help you propose marriage in a few days," Whirlpool Dragon said calmly, wanting to make up for the loss of his daughter's marriage with a daughter-in-law. Jojuan secretly groaned, feeling a headache coming on from his father's concern. "Wait a few more years, she's still young, you're 16, not young anymore," Whirlpool Dragon glared at him, having already settled down and started a family at that age. "What I mean is, she's still young?" Whirlpool Dragon frowned. "How old is she?" Eight years old, clang. Mito accidentally knocked over his bowl and dishes, looking at his younger brother with an incredulous expression. "Beast?" Whirlpool Dragon's lips twitched, squeezing out 2 words through gritted teeth. Then he pulled out a gleaming golden chain. No, it's not that serious, calm down, father." That night, pig-like screams echoed throughout the clan chief's mansion. The next day, news of Miro's marriage to another clan spread like wildfire throughout Uzumaki village. The marriage of the clan chief's daughter was a major event, especially since Mito was the most dazzling jewel of the Uzumaki clan. Many of the Uzumaki's young talents harbored feelings for Miro, and quite a few had confessed their love, but all had been rejected. Now, learning that Mito was to marry into another clan, these young talents trembled with rage. "Damn it! Our Uzumaki clan's princess has been taken by an outsider. Are they taking advantage of our Uzumaki clan's lack of talent?" However, upon learning who the groom was, the young talents quickly quieted down. "Oh, it's Hoshirama. That's all right then." There was also a class difference among the young talents. Hoshirama had made a name for himself with his wood release techniques and was also the young clan chief of the Senju clan. The others knew their place and understood that they had no right to compete with Hoshirama for a wife. To prepare for the wedding 3 days later, Uzumaki Rai began making arrangements in advance, having the villagers hang colorful ribbons throughout the streets and alleys of Uzumaki village. He decided to give his daughter a grand wedding. "Jojuan, why are you limping?" Jojuan's cousin, Uzumaki, asked curiously. They had nothing better to do than hang ribbons in the street. "I tripped and fell," Jojuan explained vaguely, unwilling to elaborate. His father had really beaten him badly last night. Thinking of the beating he suffered last night, he felt lingering fear. It was definitely the worst beating he had ever received in his life. But thankfully, the beating had at least made up for the marriage proposal, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. Otherwise, his father would bring it up every few days, and he couldn't bear it. Mito and Hoshirama are a perfect match, they'll definitely be happy together. These days, as long as you can survive, you're happy, Jojuan chatted casually with his cousin. He wasn't just saying this, those who haven't experienced hardship wouldn't understand. Over a decade ago, war and drought ravaged the land, leaving countless refugees and widespread starvation. Cannibalism and the accumulation of corpses led to outbreaks of plague, even for powerful ninja clans, who resorted to gnawing on tree roots and digging for wild herbs. Winter brought biting winds that froze blankets to solidification, and several times they felt they wouldn't survive. Fortunately, all that is in the past. The Uzumaki clan has truly risen again, and they will never again endure such suffering. With Mito and Hashirama's marriage, the entire ninja world will begin to return to normalcy, and the end of this chaotic era is not far off. Chapter 59 Stealing the Groom. 3 days later, the Senju clan's wedding procession entered Uchiha village from the east entrance. Leading the way was Hashirama, dressed as a groom, followed by Tobirama and the rest of the Senju clan, carrying various heavy wooden chests on their shoulders. Looking at the brightly lit streets before them, the Senju clan members were somewhat bewildered. Was Uchiha sure this wasn't the capital of the Land of Fire, but the legendary Uchiha village? Compared to their own dilapidated and rustic clan territory, it was like night and day. They felt both envious and inferior, unable to believe the Uzumaki clan had changed so much. It was as if they were all originally country farmers, but he had secretly slipped into the city, not only registering his household but also buying a house. Brother-in-law, this way, Jojuan, who had been waiting for a long time, stepped forward with a smile and called him brother-in-law very naturally. Hashirama scratched the back of his head, feeling embarrassed, and suddenly remembered what Ashina had said to him 3 days ago. It wasn't until Tobirama nudged his elbow that he suddenly reacted, pulling a large red envelope from his pocket. Jojuan accepted it without hesitation. On the way to the clan head's mansion, many children were attracted by the grand spectacle and gathered around to join in the fun. Hashirama generously distributed wedding candies, making the children beam with joy and showering them with auspicious words, presumably something their families had taught them beforehand. The clan head's mansion was exceptionally lively today, with nearly 100 tables set up for the banquet inside and out. A large group of young talents from the Uzumaki clan blocked the entrance, toasting Hashirama, hoping to avenge his loss of his bride in this way. With so many people, even the sage of 6 paths would be overwhelmed if each person drank a cup. Hashirama felt uneasy. Get out of the way, don't cause trouble. Jojuan shooed away the people blocking the door, protecting her brother-in-law. Finally reaching the inner room, they encountered the bridesmaids blocking the door. Hashirama had to scatter all the red envelopes before he could finally enter the bride's boudoir. Mito, meticulously dressed, sat on the bed, looking shyly at her beloved husband, amidst a chorus of cheers from those around them. Hashirama, now a manly man, took out a wedding ring, knelt before Mito, and solemnly placed it on her finger, saying with a serious face, "You must be happy from now on." The crowd paused, then burst into laughter. "Big brother, it's your wedding." Tobirama helplessly covered his forehead, feeling that his elder brother had completely disgraced the Senju clan. "We should go and toast the elders." Jojuan, unable to suppress her laughter, quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. Mito gave her husband a reproachful look, then went with him to the courtyard. "This is the eldest uncle." At the main table, Mito introduced the eldest elder to Hashirama. "Greetings, eldest uncle." Hashirama bowed and offered a toast. The eldest elder smiled and drank it all in one gulp, then presented a gold chain. "This is the third uncle," Mito continued, introducing the second elder. "Greetings, third uncle." The second elder also smiled and presented a gold ornament. After visiting several tables, the couple had toasted almost all the relatives. They not only received a large amount of gold and silver jewelry, but also the sincere blessings of everyone. Mito's pretty face appeared even more radiant under the glow of the wine. As the wedding procession lifted the large red sedan chair, the moment of parting finally arrived. Uzumaki Ryu, holding his daughter's hand, reluctantly instructed her to be a good wife and mother, and to return if she suffered any injustice in the Senju clan's territory. He promised to come and beat Hashirama at the village entrance, just like he had beaten Jojuan. Jojuan, innocently caught in the crossfire, was very upset. "Father, you must take good care of yourself while I'm not around. Remember to eat and rest on time, and don't overwork yourself," Mito also instructed her father. Halfway through her words, her nose suddenly stung, and 2 clear tears streamed down her face, smudging her makeup. On such a joyous day, what kind of decorum is this? Crying and wailing, Uzumaki Dragon sighed. "Let's hurry and set off while there's still time, otherwise it'll be dark by the time we get there." Remember, once you're in the bridal sedan chair, You absolutely cannot get off until we reach the Senju clan's territory, or it will be bad luck. Yes, yes. The moment the bridal sedan chair set off, Jojuan clearly saw his father turn away and wipe away tears. But he didn't go over to comfort him, because he still had the task of escorting the bride, and besides, his father's anger towards him hadn't subsided yet. If he rashly went over, he was afraid he would be taken out on him and get beaten up again. The wedding procession on Uzumaki's side was no smaller than the welcoming procession, with Jojuan and Ashina, the two brothers-in-law, leading the way, each carrying a full load of dowry on their shoulders. The group left along the east entrance of the village, trekking through mountains and rivers. The mountain paths were difficult to traverse, but fortunately, the 8 men carrying the sedan chair were all ninjas and had plenty of stamina. Sister, are you hungry? I have some flatbread. Sister, are you thirsty? I have a water bag. Sister, do you need to poop? I'll get you a chamber pot. Ashina, acting as his sister's lackey, constantly lingered by the flower bridge, offering words of comfort and remembering his father's warning not to let his sister get out of the bridal sedan chair. Little brother Ashina, don't bother, Tobirama chuckled, finding his younger brother quite amusing. Glancing at the son's position, he judged, at our current pace, we can reach the clan's territory before dark. Hoshirama remarked, the return journey has been so smooth, we haven't encountered any trouble. Jojuan's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. The next second, he stopped, his lips twitching. Brother-in-law, are you a jinx, huh? Hoshirama was taken aback, not understanding. Then he followed Jojuan's gaze and looked up, only to see dozens of figures densely packed in the valley ahead. Every figure present was a red-eyed patient, the one in the very center with slanted bangs, coldly surveying the crowd, exuding an aura of dominance, a familiar face to many. Madara, Hoshirama blurted out, startled. The clansmen behind him immediately sounded alarm bells, forming a protective circle on either side of the bridal sedan. Jojuan, what happened? Mito, inside the sedan, noticed the commotion and asked. Nothing serious. Jojuan reassured her, it's just that Uchiha Madara came to steal the groom. Oh, Mito breathed a sigh of relief, that's good. Wait? Steal the groom? No, you stole Madara's husband first. Even through the sedan, Jojuan could imagine her sister's stunned expression. Don't worry, sister-in-law, the Uchiha don't have many men, we'll drive them away quickly, Tobirama said, drawing his small katana. Ashina chimed in, yes, we've got everything covered. Sister, just relax and sit tight in the bridal sedan chair. With the arrival of those trying to abduct the bride, how could Miro possibly relax? She bit her lip, furious. For a young woman about to become a wife, having her wedding disrupted was absolutely unforgivable, especially since she couldn't get off the sedan chair. The wedding custom in the Land of Fire dictated that the bride couldn't dismount before arriving at her husband's house, otherwise, it was considered unlucky and would become a laughingstock. The more prestigious the family, the more they value these customs. Chapter 60 Falling in Love with Me. Falling in love with me. Madara, what exactly do you want? Hoshirama, a sense of foreboding rising within him, questioned in a deep voice. Madara sneered, knowing it's your wedding day, I came specifically to congratulate you. Jojuan wasn't sure if it was just his imagination, but he sensed a strong hint of jealousy in Madara's words. He immediately felt a headache coming on. Despite his relaxed demeanor while comforting Mito, he was far from calm. His sister's marriage was an event as important to him as melting his eyes, concerning her lifelong happiness. He wouldn't allow anyone to sabotage it, not even Uchiha Madara. Although Hoshirama and Madara shared an unbreakable bond, Madara was now his brother-in-law, even close friends had to take a backseat. Madara, for the sake of our past friendship, please don't make things difficult for me today, okay? Hoshirama's tone softened as he pleaded. He had finally managed to marry his beloved, and he really didn't want any trouble. If you have any complaints about me, you can come to me on the battlefield later, but today, I'm going to find you today, Madara interrupted forcefully. Originally, according to Uchiha Tajima's orders, after the defeat at the Ninja Iron Mine, the Uchiha clan members were to remain secluded in their clan territory until Black Zetsu perished or disappeared. However, upon learning of Hoshirama's wedding, Madara was enraged and disobeyed his father's orders, leading a group of clan members to intercept the bride. He had always been rebellious and arrogant. Don't be naive, Hoshirama. From the moment we stood on opposing sides, all our former friendship vanished. Be prepared to fight me to the death, Hoshirama said bitterly. Madara then turned to the woman beside him and whispered, "Tano-senpai, Izuna and I will hold off Hashirama and Tobirama. You're in charge of dealing with Mito. Please make sure she gets off the bridal sedan chair." He knew Mito was powerful, and killing her was almost impossible, but he wanted to at least humiliate her. Disrupting the wedding was his main objective. The more Hashirama suffered, the more satisfied he would be. The woman nodded. "Don't worry, even without Hashirama and Tobirama, I can easily handle Mito." Her name was Uchiha Tano, an elite jonin of the Uchiha clan from a young age, second only to the elders in seniority, and possessing exquisite swordsmanship. Madara and Izuna were her juniors, and she had even taught the two brothers swordsmanship in their youth. The three had a teacher-student and friend-like relationship. Alright, upon hearing this, Madara had no more reservations. He certainly trusted Tano-senpai's strength. Mito wouldn't stand a chance against her. The next moment, a sharp glint flashed in Madara's eyes, and he decisively ordered, "Kill." Dozens of Uchiha clan members leaped up and charged straight at the bridal sedan chair, their purpose clear. Uchiha Madara charged at the forefront, his hands forming hand seals to unleash a billowing wall of fire, great fire extinction, water release, water dragon bullet technique. Tobirama created a giant water dragon with hand seals, which crashed into the wall of fire, causing steam to hiss and spread. "Tobirama, your opponent is me." Izuna suddenly appeared, cleaving the water dragon in two with a single strike, and then, with the force of his blade, charged straight at Tobirama like a mountain being cleaved. Forced to switch sides, Tobirama turned to fight Izuna, wielding his ninja sword and engaging him in taijutsu combat. The two exchanged blows, their attacks both extremely fierce and ruthless. Meanwhile, Hashirama and Madara were also locked in fierce combat. Adventure of the World of Trees, Great Fire Annihilation. One unleashed wood released to its fullest extent, countless branches and vines bursting through the ground. The other unleashed fire released to its peak, flames engulfing the earth and sweeping across the battlefield, dividing it in two. "Protect Lady Mito, get out of the way." The Senju wedding procession and the Uzumaki escorting procession roared as they charged towards the enemy, finding themselves surrounded by the Uchiha clan. Explosions echoed throughout the area, and neither side could escape for the time being. A perfect opportunity. Uchiha Tano seized the moment, taking advantage of the enemy's absence to use her body flicker technique to traverse the battlefield, attacking the bridal sedan chair as if it were empty. Lightning crackled on her blade. "You bitch, don't even think about harming my sister," Ashina roared in fury, immediately forming hand seals to create hundreds of shadow clones, overwhelming Uchiha Tano. Flowing shadow lightning flash, Uchiha Tano uttered softly, and a flash of lightning streaked across the sky, instantly obliterating all the hundreds of shadow clones into smoke. Ashina's main body narrowly dodged the blade's attack, forced to retreat several meters away. By then, Uchiha Tano had already reached the bridal sedan chair, once again preparing to draw her sword. Not good. Ashina was horrified. He had already experienced Uchiha Tano's swordsmanship. One strike from her would surely shatter the bridal sedan chair. Was his sister really going to force her out of the sedan chair after all? At this moment, Ashina was filled with shock and anger, but even more so with a sense of utter helplessness. Hashirama, Tobirama, and the others, watching from afar, noticed the situation at the bridal sedan chair, their hearts leaping in their throats. "Mito, it's all my fault. I didn't protect you." Hashirama was filled with remorse. He had promised to protect Mito with his life the night of the proposal, vowing never to let her suffer, but he had broken his promise so quickly. Damn it, Tobirama and the rest of the clan gritted their teeth, feeling a profound sense of shame. If Mito was forced out of the sedan chair, it meant the Senju clan would lose all face. "Stop!" At the critical moment, a furious shout rang out. Jojuan stepped forward, blocking the sedan chair, his gaze resolute. "Second brother, get out of the way." Ashina, Hashirama, Tobirama, and the others were startled. They knew very well that Jojuan was only a special chunin, no match for the Uchiha's elite jonin. He would only be killed with a single strike. Uchiha Tano's lips curled into a smile, intending to cut down the overconfident brat before her. Ninjutsu, her hands moved in a flurry of hand seals, creating a series of afterimages. So fast, Uchiha Tano's pupils constricted. The speed of her opponent's hand seals shocked her, even instilling a sense of crisis. What kind of powerful ninjutsu could match such rapid hand seals? The next instant, she got her answer. Harem seduction technique, PFFT 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 PFFT, Dozens of naked Minato Namokes appeared before Uchiha Teno, each adorned with flamboyant attire, their private parts shrouded in smoke. This. For a moment, an eerie silence fell over the entire scene. Both sides stared in disbelief at this unprecedented and likely unparalleled ninjutsu. Inside the bridal sedan chair, Mito sensed something was wrong. Why had the sounds of fighting suddenly ceased? It was as if time had stopped. What was happening outside? Bastard, I'll kill you. Uchiha Teno was the first to react, feeling deeply insulted, and swung his sword in fury. Love me, Jojuan silently chanted, releasing the seal on his left eye. A Meijekaiao Sharingan spun rapidly, activating the Kido Matsukami technique. The Meijekaiao Sharingan was perfectly concealed by the smoke that enveloped Minato Namokes. No one could see it. Chapter 61 Both Breakthrough. Jojuan's spirit, through the power of her Meijekaiao Sharingan, easily invaded Uchiha Teno's brain, altering her thoughts and will. A faint moan escaped Uchiha Teno's lips. In that instant, she felt a very subtle emotion for the boy before her. Her eyes glazed over, thinking him the most handsome man in the world, captivating her, her heart pounding wildly. She forcibly stopped her half-swung blade, unwilling to harm him in the slightest. Compared to her, Jojuan was far more ruthless, seizing an opening, drawing her kunai, and stabbing it into her abdomen with a plop, then kicking her far away. How is this possible? Madara and Izuna were shocked, never expecting that Teno-senpai would be defeated by an unknown nobody. Hashirama, Tobirama, Ashina, and the others were equally shocked, even doubting their own eyes. A dignified elite jonin of the Uchiha clan, defeated so easily? Tobirama looked thoughtfully at the dozen or so naked bodies of Namoke's Minato. Teno-senpai, how are you? Madara asked anxiously while locked in battle with Hashirama, his heart filled with worry. He feared that his attempt to disrupt the wedding had failed, and he had instead suffered a double loss. I'm fine. Uchiha Teno staggered to her feet, her pretty face pale and weak. One hand clutched her lower abdomen, blood seeping through her fingers. She looked at Jojuan with a complex expression, like a pitiful woman betrayed by her beloved, stabbed in the back by the one she adored, the emotional blow particularly severe. Her lips moved, as if she wanted to question something, when suddenly a pitch-black humanoid monster emerged from the ground behind her. Such beautiful Sharingan, a greedy voice rang in her ears. Black Zetsu, the Uchiha clan members exclaimed in unison, their eyes all fixed on Black Zetsu. Uchiha Tano's heart skipped a beat, but before she could retaliate, Black Zetsu struck her neck with a chop, knocking her unconscious, then dragged her into the ground. You scoundrel! Stop right there. Madara was furious, his worst fears had come true. To guard against Black Zetsu, Uchiha Tajima had ordered all clansmen to guard the clan's territory. Madara, however, refused to believe it and, in an attempt to disrupt Hashirama's wedding, led his clansmen out of the mountains, only to be ambushed by Black Zetsu. Was it true that wherever there were Uchiha clansmen, there would be Black Zetsu? Black Zetsu, you scoundrel, I will kill you. Madara roared to the sky, his killing intent surging like never before. His chakra surged, creating a fierce wind and flying sand and stones. The three Tomo in his Sharingan spun wildly, merging and merging to form a flower pattern. What? Meijekaiao Sharingan, the Senju clansmen's brows twitched violently. They hadn't expected Uchiha Madara to awaken a Meijekaiao Sharingan in this situation. It was very disadvantageous for them. Give Teno-senpai back. On the other side, a roar no less powerful than Madara's rang out. Everyone turned their heads and saw Izuna also roar into the sky, tears of blood streaming down his face, the two Meijekaiao Sharingan in his eyes radiating a captivating light. Uchiha Izuna has awakened his Sharingan too. The Senju clan members were truly terrified this time, sensing that something terrible was about to happen. As the Uchiha's archenemies, they had fought against the Uchiha for so many years and knew how powerful the Meijekaiao Sharingan was. In the past, it was already a huge burden for the Senju clan when only Uchiha Tajima awakened his Meijekaiao Sharingan. Now, both Madara and Izuna had awakened their Sharingan. This was unacceptable. Little did they know that Izuna's reason for awakening his Sharingan was different from Madara's. He had always harbored feelings of love for Uchiha Teno, and that's why he lost control of his emotions when he saw Uchiha Teno being kidnapped by Black Zetsu. The thought of Black Zetsu gouging out his eyes made him want to go berserk. Damn it! My mutual multiplication explosive tags technique isn't fully developed yet, and it can't break through Susanu's defenses. Tobirama knew he was no match for Izuna after he awakened his main Gekkai Sharingan, and his head was spinning. This main Gekkai Sharingan awakening is just too unreasonable. He was about to avoid Izuna's attack, but Izuna completely ignored him, disappearing underground and rapidly pursuing along the chakra fluctuations left by Black Zetsu. Retreat, Madara roared, a massive skeleton enveloping his entire body, making him appear terrifying like a demon god, and he punched Hashirama away. The Uchiha clan members immediately scattered and retreated into the distance. Don't chase, Hashirama stopped his restless clansmen, watching the Susanoo disappear into the distance, his heart filled with mixed emotions. Having witnessed Madara awaken his main Gekkai Sharingan, he didn't know what he was feeling, a mixture of joy and sorrow. Let's go quickly while they're chasing Black Zetsu, Tobirama said hastily. Underground, Black Zetsu, carrying Uchiha Tenno, fled at full speed, with Izuna clinging tightly to his back. This Black Zetsu was merely a shadow clone created by Jojuan using the sexy jutsu as cover. Although a shadow clone, it possessed all the memories and personality of the original. I never dreamed that Madara and Izuna's main Gekkai Sharingan would be forced out by me. What a disaster, Jojuan lamented. He first severely injured Uchiha Tenno, then kidnapped him, intending to lure Madara away. His plan succeeded, but creating two pairs of main Gekkai Sharingan was definitely not a good thing. Black Zetsu, you stop right there, Izuna roared from behind, rapidly closing the distance between them. His speed, comparable to the 5 elements escape technique, was entirely due to his main Gekkai Sharingan. The main Gekkai Sharingan is also known as the Eye of the Mind. When he activated it, his sole focus was on rescuing Tenno-senpai, so his left eye's power was speed, a speed surpassing all other escape techniques. With this new eye technique, Jojuan's title of fastest man in the Land of Fire was likely to change hands. I didn't intentionally slow down, yet Izuna managed to catch up. Jojuan was secretly shocked, vaguely guessing it might be due to the main Gekkai Sharingan. He gritted his teeth and used the 5 elements escape technique to its fullest extent, but even so, Izuna continued to close in. Izuna didn't have the Byakugan, so he couldn't see through Jojuan underground and could only pinpoint his location by relying on chakra fluctuations. When he sensed that he was less than 100 meters away from his opponent, the main Gekkai Sharingan suddenly contracted, a tear of blood welling up, and he activated the eye technique of his other eye. His second eye technique was Curse Kill, which could kill enemies from a distance using chakra fluctuations. If he wanted to rescue Tenno-senpai, he naturally had to kill Black Zetsu first. This was Izuna's initial motivation for awakening this eye technique. What's going on? Jojuan suddenly felt a strong sense of palpitation, and the next moment, he exploded into smoke with a poof. This shadow clone had thus made a heroic sacrifice. Success! Izuna was overjoyed when he sensed the disappearance of Black Zetsu's chakra fluctuations. Ignoring the severe depletion of his eye power, he rushed forward in one go and successfully found Uchiha Tenno. The surrounding area was all compacted soil, and he did not find Black Zetsu's corpse. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Exceptionally Powerful Ninjutsu. Black Zetsu isn't dead, Izuna was puzzled. His main Gekkai Sharingan had only recently awakened, and he didn't understand much about the nature of his eye techniques, assuming Black Zetsu had dodged his curse attack. Without further thought, sensing Madara's chakra aura, he carried Tenno to reunite with his older brother. Madara led his clansmen in a retreat of several miles, filled with worry for Uchiha Tenno's safety. He didn't know if his brother could catch up with Black Zetsu, given Black Zetsu's cunning and elusive nature. Tenno-senpai, you must be safe, Madara prayed silently, feeling no joy at awakening his main Gekkai Sharingan, only a heavy heart filled with self-reproach. Just then, the ground ahead churned, and Izuna emerged from it. Before Madara could even cheer, he heard his brother shout anxiously, "Quickly, a medical ninja to heal Tenno-senpai." Tenno lay unconscious in his arms, his life hanging in the balance. Soon, an Uchiha ninja skilled in medical ninjutsu rushed forward to treat Tenno, while the rest of the clansmen gathered around to watch. A moment later, the medical ninja breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Tenno-senpai has only fainted. Although the wound on her abdomen is deep, it's not fatal." Then wake her up quickly, Izuna urged. The medical ninja nodded, increased his chakra output, and tended to Tano's injuries. After several quarters of an hour of treatment, Tano shakily opened her eyes. Tano-senpai, you're finally awake. Izuna and Madara were overjoyed, and the rest of the clan members also breathed a sigh of relief. Elite Jonin are the top combat force of each ninja clan, and also the source of their confidence, possessing unparalleled importance. Tano-senpai, how are you feeling now? Tano shook her head. I'm fine. After a pause, she suddenly asked, what's the name of the person who injured me? Everyone was stunned and looked at each other. They all had corresponding information on ninjas of the opposing forces above the Jonin level, but none of them knew who the Uzumaki boy was. Madara pondered, never heard of him. He must be a newly promoted Jonin from the Uzumaki clan. The reason Tano-senpai was injured by him is entirely due to his shameless ninjutsu. The Uchiha clan members present felt a chill run down their spines at the thought of the dozen or so Minato Namikaze's flirting with him earlier. They thought it was no wonder Tano-senpai fell for it. Anyone who saw it was blind. That ninjutsu combined transformation and shadow clone techniques. It was utterly outrageous, unprecedented and unheard of. No one could understand what kind of freak had developed it. I will definitely kill the Uzumaki clansman myself to avenge Tano-senpai, Izuna said hatefully. No need, Tano refused calmly. No one is allowed to kill him. I will avenge him myself. Izuna was taken aback, assuming she was proud and wanted to wash away her shame herself, so he didn't object. Little did Izuna know, the Tano-senpai he adored was experiencing extremely complex emotions. The little farewell to heaven technique could only temporarily alter willpower, but Jojuan's handsome appearance amplified the effect, a fact he himself was unaware of. At this moment, the image of the Whirlpool boy standing in front of her was constantly flashing through Doi's mind, his full head of red hair, his features, and the kunai he used, fierce but not fatal, clearly showing mercy, were all deeply imprinted in her heart. Meanwhile, fearing Madara would lead his clan to return, Hoshirama and his group hurriedly fled. Sister, we're safe now, Ashina reported, approaching the bridal sedan chair. The Uchiha clan has all escaped. Second brother did a great service. What did Jojuan do? Mito asked, puzzled. Her second brother was only a special chunin. What great service could he possibly have done? She had been well protected by Jojuan and hadn't been forced out of the sedan chair, so she hadn't seen Jojuan use the sexy jutsu to defeat Uchiha Doi. Second brother just used an incredibly powerful ninjutsu, severely injuring one of the Uchiha's elite Jonin, he boasted, as if he were the one who had seriously injured the elite Jonin. The clansmen behind him looked on with bewildered expressions. They asked themselves, was that really such a powerful ninjutsu? It felt more like lewd behavior. What was the difference between that and taking off your pants while fighting with a woman? Mito was even more puzzled. What ninjutsu was it, Rasengan or Giant Rasengan? Neither. It must be Big Brother's latest ninjutsu. Halfway through his sentence, Ashina suddenly realized he had let slip in his excitement. He couldn't reveal that his second brother could develop ninjutsu, or his brother would be in danger. Jojuan smiled calmly, about to explain, when suddenly his heart skipped a beat, and his expression changed drastically. PFFT, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Second brother, Ashina and the others were startled and quickly surrounded him. It's nothing. Elite Jonin are indeed powerful, they only left me with a minor injury. Jojuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and waved his hand to indicate that he was alright. Hoshirama said worriedly, that person's name is Uchiha Tano. She's very strong, and her seniority is even greater than Madara and Izuna's. Being injured by her might not be a minor injury. Mito was familiar with the name Uchiha Tano and immediately became nervous. Her brother had actually been injured by that person. Jojuan, come up here. Let me see your injury, she said hurriedly. Jojuan declined. I can't get on the bridal sedan chair, and I'm really fine. Stop talking nonsense. As soon as his sister got angry, Jojuan immediately cowered and obediently climbed into the bridal sedan chair. Mito sat inside the sedan chair, her bright red wedding dress making her exceptionally beautiful. Her bright face was now filled with worry. Seeing her brother get on, she immediately used medical ninjutsu to check his injuries. He suffered internal injuries, but thankfully, it's not serious. After several examinations, Mito breathed a sigh of relief. Her younger brother's chest looked like it had been punched, with a mass of bruises piling up in his flesh. Under Mito's superb ninjutsu healing, Jojuan quickly recovered, and the chest pain subsided. What were you showing off for? Do you think you can handle Uchiha Tenno? Mito scolded, feeling that her brother's fight with the elite Jonin was a brush with death. Don't underestimate me. So what if she's an elite Jonin? Her injuries are definitely worse than mine, Jojuan said confidently with a cheerful laugh. Mito glared at him, then checked his injuries several more times to make sure there were no problems before letting him go. Although Jojuan appeared cheerful, he was actually more serious than anyone else. After his shadow clone disguised as Black Zetsu exploded, his memories and injuries returned to his original body. This was extremely abnormal. Normally, when a shadow clone dies, only memories and pain are returned. It's impossible for injuries to be returned as well. Moreover, Izuna hadn't caught up with the shadow clone at the time. The two were at least 100 meters apart. Izuna hadn't even used any ninjutsu, yet he inexplicably killed the shadow clone. Was it a Mangekyou Sharingan? Jojuan couldn't help but wonder. What kind of eye technique could transfer damage to a shadow clone to the main body? This is practically causal locking. Chapter 63 Identity Exposed. Jojuan was shocked and terrified. At this moment, he was incredibly curious about Izuna's awaken eye technique. He was certain that without the shadow clone as a buffer, if Izuna's eye technique directly targeted his main body, he might very well have been killed inexplicably. Even worse, if Izuna's eye power were a level higher, evolving into the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, it was entirely possible that he could be killed directly through a shadow clone. Thinking of this, Jojuan immediately felt his life was in danger. No, I have to seal Izanachi in the Mangekyou Sharingan beforehand, so that even if I suddenly die, I can be resurrected. At worst, I'll just lose one Mangekyou Sharingan. He pondered ways to counter Izuna's eye technique. Although his Black Zetsu identity hadn't been exposed, and Izuna might not intend to kill him, he still needed to prepare in advance. Life was the most important thing. No one could kill him for no reason. Speaking of Izuna's eye technique, it's truly amazing. Compared to his method of killing by locking causality, Mikoto Matsukami is immeasurably inferior. If only I could pry off his Mangekyou Sharingan and transplant it into myself. Jojuan had a bold idea, plotting to possess Izuna's eyes. Such a dangerous eye technique, let me keep it safe. In the original story, Izuna ultimately died at Tobirama's hands. Madara pried off Izuna's Mangekyou Sharingan and merged it with his brother's eyes to create a new eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. Jojuan thought he might be able to intervene on the day Izuna died, stealing Madara's thunder. He could only do so on the day Izuna died, since Izuna's eye technique was so unpredictable. If he were at his peak, Jojuan wouldn't dare show his face in front of him again, not even with a shadow clone, as he could easily be killed unexpectedly. Luckily, I didn't kill Uchiha Tenno, otherwise Izuna and Madara would probably consider me their mortal enemy, just like Kaguya hated me back then, a fight to the death. Jojuan thought to himself with relief. When he used Kido Matsukami against Uchiha Tenno earlier, he could have easily killed her. He could have simply changed the kunai thrust into her stomach to throat slit. But he didn't, mainly because he was wary of Madara and Izuna. The result proved he was right not to kill her. He only had one artificially synthesized Mangekyou Sharingan, which was no match for 4 genuine ones. Suddenly, I remembered something. Because of me, Izuna's awakened Mangekyou Sharingan technique is different from the original story, and his fighting power is different too. Can Tobirama still kill him according to the original story's progression? Don't let Izuna kill him with some inexplicable eye technique. Jojuan suddenly worried about Tobirama. If Tobirama died at Izuna's hands in the future, he would be held responsible. Just then, Tobirama, as if on cue, approached with a smile and said, "Brother Jojuan, I didn't expect you to be able to develop ninjutsu." Jojuan remained composed, not letting Tobirama see his unease, and humbly replied, "I'm just tinkering with some low-level tricks. I've heard that third brother Tobirama has developed quite a few A-rank water-release ninjutsu. You're the real genius at developing ninjutsu." He meant it sincerely. Perhaps Tobirama's current strength wasn't very high, but he was absolutely a prodigy when it came to developing ninjutsu. In the original work, Tobirama developed countless ninjutsu. Not to mention A-rank ninjutsu, he also developed quite a few S-rank ninjutsu like Flying Thunder God technique, mutually multiplying explosive tags, and in pure world reincarnation. An ordinary ninja could hardly learn all the ninjutsu he developed in his entire life. Compared to him, Jojuan was like a small fry compared to a great wizard. Only the 5 elements survival release was somewhat presentable. The rest, like the multiple shadow clone technique and the Rinnegan, were just constructs based on known ninjutsu models, merely scraps from others. Hearing this, the Senju clan members behind him whispered amongst themselves, thinking that Jojuan at least had some self-awareness. His move wasn't just a matter of being presentable, it was downright awful, the kind that would ruin one's reputation and lead to social death. If it were them, they would rather be killed heroically by the enemy than use such a shameful technique. This kid has such thick skin. He can still look so shameless after using that kind of ninjutsu, not a shred of embarrassment in his eyes. Some began to marvel. Brother Jojuan, no need to be modest. Others might not see the clues in your ninjutsu, but to us experts, it's crystal clear, Tobirama said with a meaningful smile. Jojuan's heart tightened, startled and uncertain by his words. Of course he had clues. Using the sexy jutsu as cover to secretly activate Kido Matsukami, he thought he had done it flawlessly, but hadn't he escaped Tobirama's discerning eyes? The Sharingan was his greatest secret. Once exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable, even potentially overturning the current order of the Land of Fire. Oh, I wonder what clues third brother Tobirama has noticed, Jojuan probed subtly. Tobirama didn't answer directly, only giving a knowing look. When we reach the Senju clan's territory, I hope to discuss the development of ninjutsu with brother Jojuan. With that, Tobirama patted Jojuan's shoulder heavily twice. Jojuan's heart sank to the bottom. He'd been seen through. He'd definitely been seen through. What to do? Should he kill him to silence him? No, not at all. Jojuan quickly calmed down. After all, he and Tobirama were sworn brothers, and Tobirama was his elder brother's brother-in-law. He had never harmed the Senju clan. Even if Tobirama had discovered Black Zetsu's identity, he wouldn't expose him and put him to death. It wouldn't benefit him personally or the Senju clan. He probably wanted to use this secret to control him. That must be it. Now, he could only take it one step at a time, figuring out Tobirama's intentions first. With that thought in mind, Jojuan gave a nonchalant reply. Tobirama's smile grew even more meaningful. Ashina, completely unaware of his second brother's complex inner thoughts, was still foolishly happy for him. He thought Tobirama must have recognized his brother's talent, which was why he wanted to discuss ninjutsu development with his older brother. Indeed, gold shines wherever it is. Even if he concealed his brother's genius, truly capable people would notice. In Ashina's eyes, Tobirama was truly capable. His reputation as a ninjutsu genius had already spread throughout the Land of Fire, barely qualifying him to be compared to his brother. While happy, Ashina was also somewhat worried. It was good that Tobirama recognized his brother's genius. But he couldn't let him speak out and create danger for his brother. Ashina decided to secretly find an opportunity to remind Tobirama later to be less talkative. Afterward, the group focused on their journey, avoiding further conversation. Jojuan appeared calm on the surface, but inwardly he was constantly trying to figure out Tobirama's intentions. He hadn't felt so uneasy about anyone in a long time. Before nightfall, the group successfully arrived at the Senju clan's territory. Chapter 64 My father is incompetent. Batsuma, leading his clansmen, had been waiting outside the clan compound. Upon seeing the wedding procession, he was initially overjoyed, but then his expression darkened when he saw several people adorned in red and colorful ribbons. He quickly approached and asked, "Why is anyone injured?" Tobirama angrily replied, "It was Uchiha Madara. He ambushed us on the way with a group of men. Luckily, we managed to drive them away in time. Only a few suffered minor injuries, no one was killed." Batsuma erupted in fury. That Uchiha Madara. To come and disrupt things at such a crucial moment. On his wedding day, I will exact my revenge 1,000-fold. I will make sure he suffers. Hoshirama remained silent. Even with his relationship with Madara, he felt that Madara had gone too far this time. Jojuan, however, felt a strange urge to laugh. If he remembered correctly, Madara was a lifelong bachelor. His in-laws' plan to disrupt his wedding was likely doomed. After cursing Madara a few times, Batsuma didn't waste any more time and quickly ordered the bridal sedan chair to be carried into the clan compound. To celebrate, the Senju clan members nearby threw out several strings of 100-shot explosive tags like firecrackers, the deafening explosions echoing through the valley and shaking the ground. The wedding customs of the Warring States period were truly extravagant. Upon entering the Senju clan's territory, Jojuan, Ashina, and the other Uzumaki clan members all showed varying degrees of surprise. The Senju clan's territory was incredibly dilapidated, the roads were muddy and potholed, and hundreds of wooden houses were haphazardly clustered together, completely unplanned, a rural village, a far cry from Uzumaki village. 4 months ago, the Uzumaki clan members had also lived in such a rundown territory. At this moment, Ashina and the others felt incredibly fortunate, realizing that their previous lives had been like those of savages, and that their decision to build Uzumaki village was absolutely correct. Ashina secretly cast a look of admiration at Jojuan. If it weren't for his second brother's exceptional intelligence, their lives in the Uzumaki clan wouldn't have been much better than the Senju clans. It feels like I've kidnapped my sister and sold her to some remote mountain village, Jojuan thought to himself, quite disapprovingly. Having grown accustomed to the prosperity of Uzashio village, he felt uneasy returning to this small, dilapidated clan territory. He wondered if his sister could adapt to married life. Brother Jojuan, Brother Ashina, I'm sorry you had to laugh at us. Our Senju clan territory is far inferior to Uzashio village, Tobirama said apologetically. Hashirama remained silent, his face flushed red, feeling like a toad that had tasted swan meat, deeply embarrassed. It's nothing. Our Uzashio village also started as a clan territory, and the Senju clan will definitely get better and better, Jojuan said, not showing any sense of superiority. Yes, we used to have a very difficult time too. We wouldn't laugh at you, Ashina nodded earnestly in agreement. He was young and didn't care much about material conditions, his only thought was that his sister and Hashirama could be happy together. Poverty didn't matter, who hadn't been poor in those chaotic times? As expected of my brother, your words are truly pleasing to the ear, Tobirama wasn't one to mince words. Seeing that Jojuan and Ashina genuinely didn't mind the Senju clan's dire straits, he laughed heartily and put his arm around their shoulders. Tonight, the three of us will have a good drink, until we're both drunk. Jojuan's lips twitched slightly, believing that Tobirama was deliberately getting close to him, plotting something. With Hashirama, the carpentry expert, around, the Senju clan, though poor, had built beautiful houses, especially the clan head's mansion. A huge wooden villa stood in the center of the Senju clan's territory, even more magnificent than the clan head's mansion in Uzashio village. A banquet had already been prepared in the clan head's mansion, just waiting for the bride to arrive and the feast to begin. Tobirama led Jojuan and Ashina to a large round table, where all the other people at the table were young people of similar age. These two are my eldest brother's brothers-in-law, and also my sworn brothers. His name is Uzumaki Jojuan, and his name is Uzumaki Ashina, Tobirama introduced. Everyone suddenly realized, oh, it's your brother-in-law. Come, brother-in-law, let me toast you both first. Most of the Senju people are known for their hearty and generous nature. One person would raise their cup and drink, showing great enthusiasm. Jojuan, of course, wouldn't be rude and downed his drink in one gulp. Ashina, being underage, could only drink tea instead of wine. Brother-in-law, I heard that your Whirlpool village has been renovated beautifully recently, with over 40,000 people. Is that true, over 40,000? Our Senju clan only has less than 900 people. Where does the food come from to support so many people? As soon as the cups were raised, the atmosphere at the table instantly became lively. The young people of Senju were completely at ease, asking Jojuan and Ashina all sorts of questions. Jojuan answered their questions one by one, neither hiding anything nor making things up, leaving everyone in awe and wishing they could go to Whirlpool Village immediately to see it for themselves. The Dragon Clan chief actually manages to keep over 40,000 people under control. That's even more impressive than a daimyo. Yeah, Chief Batsuma definitely couldn't do it. Chief Batsuma struggles to manage even a few hundred people. Damn, are you guys really okay talking about the clan chief like that? Jojuan was secretly alarmed. Ashina also found it unbelievable. In their Uzumaki clan, the clan chief was synonymous with authority and holiness, not to be slandered. Even if he was the Uzumaki dragon's own son, he would never dare to be disrespectful to his father. So, the two brothers looked at Tobirama together. My dad's no good. He's all brute force, Tobirama grinned, joining the chorus of criticism. Ashina, hearing this, questioned his own existence, thinking, is my in-law really the Senju clan chief? He's not what I imagined. Actually, there was something Tobirama didn't say. Not only was his father no good, but his older brother was no good either. Neither of them could use their brains. With his elder brother succeeding as clan leader, he'd certainly have a lot to worry about. Luckily, his brother had married a wise woman who could share the burden. Soon, night fell. Hashirama led Mito out to meet the clan members. Just like in Uzushio village not long ago, the couple went from table to table toasting, receiving gold and silver jewelry and blessings with each new relative they met. Hashirama's wife is so beautiful, the young man from the Senju clan couldn't help but praise. Her mouth and eyes are like they were painted. You're so lucky to have such a beautiful wife. Ashina was delighted to hear others praise his sister and boasted, my sister is one of the 7 heroes of the warring states. Amazing. Everyone applauded his vanity. Brother-in-law, do you have any sisters? Even cousins are fine. Introduce me to some. No, the Senju clan has already married one of my sisters. I can't marry another, Ashina firmly refused. Dad said we shouldn't let good things go to outsiders, we should keep the good girls within the family. My second brother isn't even married yet. Haha, brother-in-law, you're too kind. Come, let me toast you. Ashina can't drink, so this toast was naturally for Jojuan. P.S. Please vote. Chapter 65 is very rough. The young clan leader's wedding was a joyous occasion for the entire clan. The wedding banquet lasted until the wee hours of the morning, with many members of the Thousand Hands clan becoming quite drunk. Jojuan was not among the drunkards. Although the Thousand Hands clan members had deliberately tried to get him drunk, he was very cautious. He had to remain sober in any situation. After each cup of wine, he would use his self-created water escape technique, 6 Meridian Divine Sword, to expel the wine as water from his body, which would then drip out along his fingers. The clan leader's mansion was very rough, it wasn't even paved with cement, and the ground was all soft, dirty mud. The wine immediately seeped into the ground, and with the darkness of night, no one noticed his cheating. Brother-in-law, what a capacity for alcohol, 1,000 cups without getting drunk. I admire you. The people at the table, their eyes blurry with drunkenness, were all convinced. They hadn't meant any harm by getting Jojuan drunk, they just wanted to show the hospitality of the hosts. According to their Thousand Hands clan custom, the more drunk a guest was, the better the hospitality. Unexpectedly, his brother-in-law had an insane alcohol tolerance, managing to drink the entire table under the table by himself. That's enough, everyone, why don't you go back and rest? Jojuan tentatively suggested, noticing that most of the Senju clan members had already left. No way, Tobirama was the first to object, hiccuping as he spoke. Cough. Brother Jojuan, I have to drink you under the table, otherwise I won't be able to entertain you properly. That's right, the others echoed weakly. Jojuan was full of questions. He couldn't tell if Tobirama was truly drunk or faking it, nor did he know about the Senju clan's customs for entertaining guests. Brother Jojuan, one more time. Tobirama swayed as he raised his glass, and that final tilt of his head became the last straw, collapsing onto the table. Huff, huff, huff. The next moment, snoring filled the table, everyone slumped over, completely drunk. Jojuan and Ashina exchanged glances, the latter's eyes sparkling with admiration. Second brother, you're amazing. Tobirama and the others are no match for you. He was envious, secretly vowing that when he grew up, he would become a man who could drink as much as his second brother. Jojuan shook his head. It's not a question of being amazing now, but where we're going to sleep tonight. Tobirama's already passed out. Our in-laws can't just abandon us. As he spoke, Jojuan turned and looked around, seeing Butsuma snoring loudly at another table, while all the Senju elders at that table were closed-eyed and unconscious. Are you kidding me? Are you really abandoning me? On my sister's wedding day, you're letting the two of us brothers-in-law sleep on the table? Jojuan had a string of complaints stuck in his throat, and suddenly understood why Tobirama had said his father was no good. The clan leader and elders were completely careless, all so drunk. What if the Uchiha attacked under cover of night? A collective suicide mission? Your Senju clan is lucky to have survived the chaos of the times. Jojuan wanted to find Hashirama and his sister, but they had already gone to their wedding night. Mentioning the wedding night, he couldn't help but complain again. No wedding festivities. The wedding was so poorly organized. He wanted to make a scene, but he was afraid of being hung up at the village entrance and beaten by his sister, so he gave up. After much thought, he took Ashina into the main hall of the clan head's mansion, pushed a few chairs together to make a bed, and the two brothers laid down and made do. The night passed quickly. Jojuan was a light sleeper, which was related to his cautious nature. The next morning, he was awakened by soft footsteps. Hashirama and Mito came downstairs. Hashirama looked refreshed, and Mito wore a moon-white dress, Her face delicate and beautiful, her hair styled in a traditional Chinese updo, exuding a domestic air. Overnight, her identity had changed from a girl to a woman. Seeing her two younger brothers sleeping on chairs, Mito was quite surprised. "Jojuan, Ashina, why aren't you sleeping in your rooms?" "Yeah," Hashirama nodded repeatedly, curious. Sleeping in a room must be so comfortable. Jojuan looked resentful. "But we need rooms to sleep in." Mito frowned. "What's wrong?" Jojuan didn't answer, but sighed softly. "Let's wake up our in-laws first." Stepping out of the main hall, Butsuma, Tobirama, and the other Senju clan members were still fast asleep on the tables, the place a mess. Seeing this, Mito immediately understood why her two brothers were sleeping on chairs. No one had arranged anything for them. Thinking of this, she felt a little guilty, and annoyed at Hashirama for not being considerate enough, giving him a disgruntled glare. After everyone was woken up, Butsuma, yawning, asked with a smile, "Jojuan, Ashina, did Tobirama and the others arrange things well last night?" Ashina was about to complain, but Jojuan smiled first and said, "Of course they did." That's good." Butsuma nodded in satisfaction, thinking that Jojuan must have been completely drunk last night. There was still a lot of leftover food from the wedding banquet, which could be eaten after a little heating. After breakfast, Butsuma asked Hashirama to take Mito to the clan's territory to familiarize her with the environment. Ashina originally wanted to go too, but Jojuan gave him a look and he kept quiet, not wanting to disturb his sister and brother-in-law's time together. "Jojuan, Ashina, I'll show you around the clan's territory," Butsuma said with a smile. Of course, he wouldn't neglect his two brothers-in-law. This was also a way of showing his respect for Mito. "Okay, thank you for your trouble, in-laws." "No trouble at all," Tobirama interjected. "I won't join the fun of strolling around the clan's territory. I'm going to develop my ninjutsu." Butsuma glanced at him sideways. "Get lost, Jojuan, our Senju clan is full of beautiful girls. Take a good look around later, and just tell me which one you like. I'll personally act as your matchmaker." Of course, she can't be a married woman, walking on the muddy village road, Butsuma said to Jojuan with a proud face, fulfilling the promise he made to Mito the night he proposed. Jojuan was stunned. "Huh? Are you taking me shopping or on a blind date?" At this moment, a series of ho-ho-ho sounds came from ahead. Jojuan looked over and saw hundreds of Senju clan boys and girls carrying huge boulders, each carrying a small mountain, tossing them up and catching them and tossing them up again, repeating the process. Ashina was startled by the strength of these people and, adopting a mature demeanor, asked, "My dear in-law, what are they doing?" "We Senju clan members are born with immense strength. This is our daily training method," Butsuma explained. "The more we strengthen our muscles and bones, the greater our strength will become, so we must train diligently. The young men of the clan come here every morning to practice their arm strength for an hour." "I see," Ashina said, suddenly understanding, then couldn't help but exclaim, "They're amazing. I definitely couldn't throw such a big rock." Although Ashina was already a Jonin, his strength lay only in chakra and ninjutsu. His raw strength wasn't much greater than an ordinary person's, hence his awe of the Senju clan. Chapter 66 Tobirama's Moment of Despair. "Jojuan, take a good look. We have so many beautiful girls from the Senju clan, surely one of them will catch your eye," Butsuma said in a tone befitting a concubine selection, as if Jojuan could immediately add one to his harem if he chose one. Jojuan's expression was subtle. He could tell that Butsuma genuinely intended for him to marry a girl from the Senju clan, and wasn't joking. "Is it to deepen the marriage alliance between our two clans, or is it simply that you feel guilty for marrying my sister and want to return a girl to our Uzumaki clan?" Based on Butsuma's intelligence, which wasn't much better than Hashirama's, Jojuan believed the latter was the reason. He carefully examined the young man and woman before him. Although the Senju clan members possessed immense strength, they weren't bulky or burly, most were of normal build, and there were even a few skinny individuals capable of moving mountains. This was illogical. Such terrifying power shouldn't reside in such small bodies, but considering this was the ninja world, everything made sense. The monks weren't lying. There were indeed many beautiful girls in the Senju clan. Jojuan only glanced around briefly before spotting several youthful and pretty girls. They were tossing boulders more than 10 times their own size while secretly observing Jojuan and Ashina, showing great curiosity about the two red-haired Uzumaki clan members. Beautiful as they may be, I'm simply not cut out for their monstrous strength, Jojuan thought bitterly, Imagining himself completely dominated and at a disadvantage in bed after marriage, his back might even break if he wasn't careful. Perhaps it was the impression Tsunade had given him, but he felt that Senju girls were definitely prone to domestic violence. In peacetime, without war, where else could they vent their monstrous strength but on their husbands? In short, definitely not a good match. Seeing that his brother-in-law remained silent, Batsuma proactively recommended, "That person is called Senju Fujetsu. She's strikingly beautiful and renowned for her virtue in the clan. You might want to go and meet her." Jojuan looked in the direction he was pointing and saw a slender young woman with a flawless appearance, seemingly the demure type. Just as she was about to refuse, Jojuan suddenly had an idea and asked, "Father-in-law, it seems that Tobirama, the third brother, is also unmarried. Why don't you find him a partner?" Batsuma's expression changed slightly. After a moment of silence, he coldly snorted, "Don't mention him. He's a good-for-nothing son. He doesn't deserve it." Jojuan's eyes lit up. She sensed a big jutsu in those words. He's so enthusiastic about finding me a partner, but when it comes to his own son, he says he's not good enough. There must be a hidden drama of love and hate between father and son. What's wrong with Tobirama, the third brother? He's so skilled at developing ninjutsu. There should be many girls who like him, Jojuan asked innocently, igniting her gossip-loving spirit. After a slight hesitation, Fujian, realizing this wasn't a shameful secret, sighed and said, "You're right. Many girls in our clan do admire Tobirama. I even considered arranging a marriage for him, but he refused." "Refused? Why?" Fujian gritted his teeth. "He said women would only hinder his development of ninjutsu. He'll settle down when he's developed the ultimate ninjutsu." Jojuan was speechless. This seemed like something Tobirama would actually say. He remembered that in the original story, Tobirama, like Madara, remained unmarried his entire life. "Third brother Tobirama has such ambition," Jojuan suddenly exclaimed in admiration. Fujian's brow twitched, and he glanced sideways. "You think he's right?" Jojuan shook his head. "From a moral standpoint, third brother Tobirama's statement is definitely wrong. As the saying goes, one must establish a family before one can build a career. Since ancient times, one must first establish a family before one can build a career." Only then was Fujian satisfied. However, Jojuan changed the subject. Within the land of fire, in the current ninja world, perhaps only Tobirama, the third brother, is qualified to say those words. "What do you mean?" Batsuma didn't understand. Jojuan explained, "Tobirama, the third brother, is a peerless genius in developing ninjutsu. Even before I became sworn brothers with him, I had long admired his name. Only he is qualified to devote all his energy to developing ninjutsu. If anyone else had said that, I certainly wouldn't have bothered." Batsuma felt inexplicably relieved upon hearing this. He was annoyed with Tobirama, but he was quite pleased to hear someone so cleverly praise his son. Ashina, however, thought his second brother was exaggerating. He was clearly a peerless genius in developing ninjutsu himself. There was no need to praise Tobirama so highly. "In-law, why don't you take me to find Tobirama, the third brother? I want to see how he develops ninjutsu and ask him a few questions," Jojuan said. Fujian frowned. "Aren't you going to look at these girls anymore?" "Not for now. I'd rather see Tobirama develop his ninjutsu." "Alright," Fujian reluctantly agreed, then led the Joe brothers towards the northwest corner of the clan's territory. Actually, Jojuan's main reason for suggesting finding Tobirama was to investigate his background and, incidentally, escape the hassle of arranged marriages. Tobirama's reactions yesterday strongly suggested he'd seen through his Black Zetsu identity, and Jojuan wanted to interact with him as much as possible to gauge his attitude. Tobirama has created a secluded room in a corner of the clan's territory for quiet research into ninjutsu. I'm usually too lazy to go see him, and basically no one goes there. On the way to the secluded room, Fujian kept muttering, "That kid, despite being rebellious and foolish, is truly skilled at developing ninjutsu. Even I, as his father, have to admire him." Jojuan played the role of a good listener, nodding and agreeing with everything Fujian said, adding some nice words to keep Fujian happy. Interpersonal skills were his forte. He was self-taught, always adapting his words to the situation. Soon, the three arrived at their destination. "That brat's inside," Batsuma pointed to the detached wooden house in front of them. He seemed to be developing a ninjutsu that could shatter Susanu's defenses recently, something like mutual multiplication technique. I forget what it was. Batsuma scratched the back of his head. Zhou silently added, mutual multiplication explosive tags technique. He understood the principle behind it. Using a summoning jutsu, a single explosive tag summons trillions of explosive tags, triggering an endless chain of explosions, a terrifyingly powerful technique capable of destroying Susanoo. Zhou had considered developing this technique before, but due to its immense difficulty and lack of energy, he abandoned it halfway through. Susanoo is the ultimate manifestation of the Uchiha clan's Sharingan power. For Tobirama to develop a ninjutsu to shatter it is truly ingenious, Zhou remarked, catering to Butsuma's preferences. Butsuma outwardly showed no reaction, but inwardly he was secretly pleased, thinking how eloquent Zhou was. He wished Tobirama were half as good at talking. He stepped forward, and without knocking, pushed open the wooden door. At that moment, Tobirama's furious shout rang in their ears, "Ninja art, harem seduction technique." Chapter 67 Tobirama's moment of despair. Puff 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 puff, a cloud of white mist exploded. Dozens of Namikaze Minitas appeared naked before the three, adorned with flamboyant attire, their private parts shrouded in smoke. In that instant, Butsuma, Zhou, and Ashina were dumbfounded. They saw Tobirama standing among a group of handsome men, gently stroking the chest of one of Namikaze Minitas, muttering to himself, "Not sexy enough. Compared to Zhou, he seems to lack something." Boom! Butsuma's mind exploded with shock, unable to believe the reality before him. Zhou had previously praised Tobirama to the skies, making Butsuma quite pleased. One of the reasons he brought Zhou to see Tobirama developing ninjutsu is to show off, but he never expected what Tobirama had actually shown off. "Tobirama!" A hoarse roar resounded. Tobirama's body suddenly trembled, as if someone had struck his pressure points, and he struggled to turn his head. What came into view was a loving iron fist. Bang! Tobirama was sent flying, his dozen or so shadow clones exploding in pieces. "You beast! What have you done? No wonder you refuse to get married and start a family. It turns out you've been doing this kind of thing behind the scenes." Butsuma was heartbroken, his face filled with unconcealed grief and indignation. He couldn't accept that his son liked men, but the dozen or so naked male clones from earlier had already proven everything. "Father, you've misunderstood," Tobirama hurriedly protested, his features distorted with fear. "I was developing ninjutsu, pure ninjutsu, nothing more." "Bullshit," Butsuma roared. "Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? What does that have to do with ninjutsu?" Tobirama was on the verge of tears. "It really is ninjutsu. My brother Zhou taught me. You can ask him if you don't believe me. Playing around is one thing, but don't drag me, Zhou, into this. I didn't dare take the blame thrown at me by the Thousand Hands King. Still trying to deny it? I'm going to beat you to death today." Without another word, Butsuma flew forward and ruthlessly killed his own son. The Senju clan members are born with superhuman strength, and Butsuma, being the clan leader, possessed strength enough to split mountains and shatter the earth. With a single punch, he blasted the wooden hut apart, sending Tobirama flying, spitting blood. "Father, stop hitting me. I know I was wrong," Tobirama pleaded desperately, his heart filled with despair. Heaven bears witness, he was truly developing ninjutsu. Yesterday, seeing Zhou use the sexy jutsu to catch Uchiha Tano off guard, he became restless, realizing the jutsu's wide applicability and potential for development. However, due to shame, he was too embarrassed to ask Zhou for guidance, so he secretly studied it in a secret room, never expecting to be caught red-handed by his father. Thinking of this, he felt resentful. "When I was developing proper ninjutsu, you didn't come to see me, but now that I'm developing something else, you come. What for? Are you just targeting me? Knowing you're wrong is useless. I'll make you reflect deeply," Butsuma sneered, determined to straighten his son out with his personality-correcting fist. Each punch was faster than the last, sending Tobirama flying like a rag doll. "I've already reflected deeply." That day, the pig-like screams echoed throughout the Senju clan's territory, attracting countless clansmen to watch. "Second brother. Tobirama was just copying your ninjutsu." Ashina belatedly realized what was happening and angrily protested. "What a peerless genius who developed ninjutsu. Bah! He's just a scoundrel who copied a second brother." Zhou rubbed his younger brother's head. "Now isn't about plagiarism. We need to find Hashirama and my sister quickly, otherwise, Tobirama might die young." He failed to chill. Butsuma, this roughneck, was truly ruthless in beating his son, probably with the intention of retraining him. Compared to him, Uzumaki Ryu was incredibly kind. By the time Jojuan brought Hashirama over, more than 10 minutes had passed. Tobirama was beaten beyond recognition, unrecognizable even to his own brother. Hashirama was shocked and quickly intervened. "Father, Tobirama is an adult now, can't you give him some face?" Hashirama asked, puzzled. After venting his anger, Batsuma calmed down and huffed. "Ask this beast yourself what he did." Hashirama indeed asked, "Tobirama, what did you do?" Tobirama immediately burst into tears. "Brother, I'm innocent." "Why?" Batsuma didn't even glance at his unfilial son and stormed off. Mito, not bothering to investigate further, immediately used medical ninjutsu to treat her brother-in-law. The truth eventually came to light. By noon, everyone, including Batsuma, Hashirama, and Mito, knew the whole story. However, upon learning the truth, everyone fell silent, and Batsuma remained silent for a long time. Jojuan's sexy jutsu is indeed effective. What's wrong with me learning from it and studying it? Didn't I develop ninjutsu all for our clan? What wrong have I done? I've shed blood for the clan, I've rendered meritorious service to the clan. Even if I really made a mistake, you can't beat me to death. For the next month, whenever Tobirama mentioned what happened that day, he would jump up from his wheelchair in agitation. Jojuan couldn't bear it and said, "Third brother Tobirama, why are you doing this? If you really want to learn the sexy jutsu, I'll teach you." Tobirama just cried without saying a word, not even wiping away his tears. Jojuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief, lifting the heavy burden from his heart. It turned out he had overthought things. Tobirama hadn't discovered the secret of his Sharingan, nor had he seen through his identity as Black Zetsu. The reason he acted strangely yesterday was simply because he wanted to learn the sexy jutsu, but was too embarrassed to ask. In a way, Tobirama deserved it, making him worry for so long for nothing, harming both himself and others. According to the wedding customs of the Warring States period, the bride's family members were required to stay at the groom's house for 7 days before returning home, to observe how well the groom's family treated the bride. Since the beating up Tobirama incident the following day, Batsuma, perhaps feeling embarrassed, spent most of his time in the clan head's building handling official business, rarely appearing in public. Naturally, he didn't take Jojuan to find Senju girls for matchmaking anymore, which relieved Jojuan. Ashina knew that his sister would be living in the Senju clan's territory forever, and the two siblings could no longer spend time together as before. Therefore, he stayed close to Mito for the next few days, following her everywhere, cherishing this time immensely. Jojuan wasn't as attached to his sister. With his 5-element escape technique, traveling between Uzushio village and the Senju clan's territory was only the time it took to eat a meal. It was no different than one living at one end of the village and the other at the other. His sister's marriage wasn't a big deal for him, and he didn't feel sad or reluctant to part with her. Therefore, he spent most of his time interacting with Tobirama, deepening their relationship and exchanging ninjutsu insights. Although Tobirama was paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair, it did not prevent him from expressing his profound knowledge of ninjutsu. After several days of exchanges, Jojuan benefited greatly and gained a deeper understanding of ninjutsu theory. Chapter 68 The Liber Clan. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. That day, Jojuan was still exchanging ninjutsu insights with Tobirama at the clan head's mansion when a sudden commotion erupted outside. "What happened?" Tobirama asked, surprised. He was very concerned about the clan's affairs, but unfortunately, he had been severely beaten by Batsuma that day and couldn't get out of his wheelchair for a while. "I'll go see," Jojuan volunteered. Stepping out of the clan head's mansion, he saw nearly 100 Senju clan members gathered not far away, carrying several wounded soldiers and rushing towards the clan head's building. "Another battle has broken out," he guessed to himself. Ordinary wild beasts pose no threat to the Senju clan members, so the wounded must have been killed by the enemy. It seems the Uchiha clan isn't afraid of me enough. They've only been quiet for 2 days, and now they're causing trouble again. Is it because Madara and Izuna have awakened their main Gekkai Sharingan that they've gained so much confidence? After a moment's thought, Jojuan made a decision. He went to the outhouse and conjured a shadow clone, sending it back to deal with Tobirama. His main body, however, used the 5-element escape technique to head to the clan head's building to investigate. When Jojuan arrived at the clan head's building, the Senju clan members had just arrived. They laid the wounded on the ground and spoke excitedly with Batsuma. Jojuan released the seal on his right demon eye, and the scenes on the ground became clear before his eyes. He even recognized two familiar faces among the wounded. Those two had sat at the same table with Jojuan on the day Mito married into the family and had even poured him drinks. He couldn't remember their names. Now, their chests were mangled with blood, the wounds appearing to be from blunt force trauma, and they were barely breathing. Jojuan used wind release, wind following ear technique to eavesdrop on the conversation on the ground. Clan chief, the Libra clan has emerged from the mountains. Changsing and Washi were injured by the Libra clan, but Suma was greatly surprised. The Libra clan? Did they flee into the deep mountains and forests 30 years ago to escape the war? The clansman hurriedly replied, yes, we don't know why, but 30 years later, they've emerged from the mountains, and it's very strange, the Libra clan has become exceptionally violent and bloodthirsty. As soon as they came out, they launched a full-scale attack on our subordinate Sunset clan. The Sunset clan is no match for them, suffering repeated defeats. We rushed to their aid after receiving the Sunset clan chief's distress call, but we were no match for the Libra clan either, and had to retreat to our clan territory, but Suma placed a small number of his clansmen among the subordinate ninja clans surrounding the Senju clan territory. This was both to monitor the enemy and to expand the Senju clan's defensive perimeter. Only when the surrounding subordinate ninja clans were destroyed could the enemy invade the Senju clan territory. What is the situation at the Sunset clan territory now? But Suma asked in a deep voice. This is very bad, a clansman shook his head. When we retreated, the defenses of the Sunset clan had already collapsed, and they started close combat with the Libra clan. If we don't send reinforcements soon, they might be wiped out, seeing how serious the situation was. But Suma didn't dare to underestimate it and said, go find Hashirama immediately and have him lead 100 clansmen to support the Sunset clan. As the clan leader, he rarely led troops into battle personally. Unless it involved a decisive battle with the Uchiha, he usually sent his sons to handle ordinary battles, and only if his sons couldn't resolve the situation would he step in. Originally, but Suma thought that Hashirama, who had just gotten married, should enjoy a few days of honeymoon, but unfortunately, Tobirama was temporarily crippled, and among the elite Jonin, only Hashirama could shoulder the responsibility. Yes, the clansmen responded and accepted the order. It's the Libra clan causing trouble, not the Uchiha. Underground, Jojuan, having heard the whole story, seemed to be deep in thought. He knew nothing about the Libra clan, he had never heard of them in over a decade, and wasn't even aware of their existence in the Land of Fire. However, he was familiar with the Libra clan from the original story. In the original work, the Libra clan were the originators of the Cursed Seal, represented by Libra Hugo. He possessed the innate ability to absorb natural energy, and would transform into a Sage Mode user if he stayed in a place with abundant natural energy, but would go berserk due to the inability to control it. Orochimaru later researched and improved Libra Hugo's Sage Mode into the Cursed Seal, implanting the improved seal into Sasuke and several of his subordinates, thus granting them immense power. But Tsuji just said that the Libra clan fled into the deep mountains and forests 30 years ago to escape war, and now they've suddenly emerged, each member becoming violent and bloodthirsty. This is very similar to Libra Hugo's berserk state after his Sage Mode transformation, Jojuan thought, quickly analyzing the situation. Could it be that the Libra clan members contracted the Sage Mode ailment during their 30 years of seclusion? This thought immediately unsettled Jojuan. He believed the Libra clan members must have had contact with one of the three great cultivation holy sites, Shikatsu Forest, Mount Myaboku, or Raichi Cave. Otherwise, such a drastic mutation as Sage Mode wouldn't have occurred. My opportunity to learn Sage Mode might lie with the Libra clan members, Jojuan was excited. Besides fusing with the eyes, the most effective way to increase strength was to learn Sage Mode. In the original story, Naruto's combat power underwent a qualitative leap after learning Sage Mode. If he had the chance to learn Sage Mode, he would definitely not give it up. Almost instantly, Jojuan made a decision to go to the Sunset Clan's territory to investigate the Libra clan members' background. He quickly followed the departing Senju clan members, watching them arrive at the clan head's residence. Young Master Hashirama, something terrible has happened. The clan leader wants you to go and support the Yuhi clan. A group of Senju clan members rushed to Hashirama, getting straight to the point and explaining the perilous situation the Yuhi clan was facing. Is this true? Upon learning the details, Hashirama's face turned solemn. The Yuhi clan was subordinate to the Senju, and the Senju had an obligation to protect their subordinate ninja clan. The Libra clan was ostensibly attacking the Yuhi clan's territory, but in reality, It was essentially the same as attacking the Senju clan's territory. Summon the clan members immediately. We'll set off right now, Hashirama issued the order, his serious demeanor surprisingly reliable, unlike his usual simpleton. Hashirama, I'll go with you too, Mito said, showing a strong sense of wifely duty and wanting to contribute to the Senju clan. No, fighting is a man's job. You stay home and wait for me to return, Hashirama gently refused. Even he, in his simpletonly way, knew there was no reason to send his newlywed wife to the battlefield, her family was still in the clan's territory. Mito, hearing this, didn't insist further, only reminding Hashirama to be careful. Soon, 100 elite Senju ninja gathered. Hashirama bid farewell to his newlywed wife and led his clan towards the Uchiha clan's territory. Jojuan, using the 5 elements tempest release technique, clung tightly to their backs, his emotions inexplicably excited, ready to act at any moment. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 Hashirama makes his move. The Sunset Clan's territory was now a scene of devastation. Dozens of ninjas wearing the Libra clan crest clashed fiercely with the Sunset Clan members. Various ninjutsu techniques blew up the surrounding houses, the flames of war raged, and screams echoed everywhere. Damn it, what kind of monsters are they? The Sunset Clan chief's brows twitched violently. The Libra clan members were like painless beasts, fighting with extreme madness. They even risked serious injury to close the distance with the Sunset Clan members, then pounced on their opponents and tore them apart, snapping their throats and ripping off pieces of flesh. The Sunset Clan members felt like they were fighting madmen. They had never seen such a bloody scene before, and a chill ran down their spines. Fear instantly halved their fighting spirit. Hey, you dare to be distracted at a time like this? A sinister laugh rang in their ears. The Sunset Clan chief's pupils shrank, and he quickly raised his katana. Bang! He was sent flying backward, crashing into a wooden house and collapsing it. A burly, middle-aged man, as imposing as an iron tower, stood where he had stood. His right hand was swollen grotesquely, covered in dense black curse marks. We, the Sunset Clan, have no grudge against Libra. Why are you attacking us? The Sunset Clan chief emerged from the ruins, a bloody wound on his chest, glaring at the man and demanding an explanation. The man licked the blood from his fingertips, grinning maliciously. Blame yourselves for being weak. And the weak are born to die? Hey! The Sunset Clan chief was momentarily speechless. He could sense that the man's mental state was extremely abnormal. In fact, all the Libra clan members were mentally unstable. They seemed to have completely lost their reason, their minds consumed only by a bloodthirsty urge to kill. We have already requested reinforcements from the Thousand Hands clan. Their reinforcements will arrive soon. You still have time to retreat. The Sunset Clan chief attempted to intimidate him. The man scoffed. What are the Senju? I'll kill them all if they come. I've mastered the power of the sage, and I've come out to wipe out all the ninja clans. Before his words even finished, the man shot out like an arrow, his swollen, thick arm slamming viciously against the Sunset Clan chief. Bang! 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 The Sunset Clan chief raised his sword to meet the attack, but the man's arm was harder than refined iron, sparks flying as it clashed with a katana. So strong, the Sunset Clan chief gritted his teeth. The opponent's strength and speed were terrifying. He was no match. After dozens of exchanges, his tiger's mouth was cracked, his entire hand bleeding profusely. Coupled with his existing injuries, he could barely hold on. Why haven't the Senju reinforcements arrived yet? He was nearly in despair, gradually unable to withstand the man's ferocious onslaught. The dying cries of his clansmen echoed in his ears. Soul-scattering iron claw, 3 streaks of blood-red light flashed. The katana in the Sunset Clan chief's hand snapped in two, and he crashed to the ground in an arc, blood splattering everywhere. How can a mere mortal rival the power of an immortal? The man's face was filled with arrogance as he licked the blood from his fingers. It all ends here. He leaped high, his 5 sharp claws gleaming with deadly light, aiming only for the Sunset Clan chief's head. The Sunset Clan chief was filled with utter despair. Was their Sunset Clan destined for this calamity? He closed his eyes resignedly. Wood release, wood dragon technique. At the critical moment, a glimmer of hope finally appeared. The ground churned, and a giant dragon composed of countless trees emerged, charging fiercely towards the man. The man had no choice but to abandon his deadly attack on the Sunset Clan chief, turning to tear at the wooden dragon with a single claw. Boom! The wooden dragon shattered into several pieces, and the man was equally badly injured, the impact creating a trench several meters long in the ground. Young Master Hashirama, having narrowly escaped death, the Uchiha clan chief was overwhelmed with emotion. He immediately turned and saw Hashirama leading nearly 100 Senju clan members into battle. The Senju reinforcements have arrived. We're saved, thank you, young Master Hashirama. That's wonderful, the Uchiha clan members cheered excitedly. At this moment, they felt genuine gratitude towards the Senju clan, their despair and sorrow vanishing. Hashirama instructed his clansmen to deal with the Libra clan members, while he himself flashed to the Uchiha clan chief and helped him up. Clan Chief Uchiha, how are your injuries? I won't die, but I can't fight anymore, the Uchiha clan chief said bitterly. Seeing that he was indeed seriously injured, on the verge of death, Hashirama said, you rest over there. Leave the rest to me, young Master Hashirama, be careful. Those Libra clan members are all insane, they have no reason whatsoever, the Uchiha clan chief reminded him gratefully before being helped away by his clansmen. Hashirama nodded to indicate he understood, his expression grave as he looked in the direction the man had been sent flying. The Libra clan had attacked the Senju's affiliated ninja clan without provocation, a move that seriously threatened the Senju clan's safety. Regardless of whether the Libra clan members were insane or not, they had to be suppressed. Hey, a strange laugh echoed. Underground, Zhou Xuan secretly thought to himself, according to the rules of online novels, villains who laugh like that usually don't survive more than 2 chapters. Not bad, another one coming to die? Our Libra clan has been in seclusion for 30 years, the world has probably already forgotten our illustrious name. A figure rose from the ruins, stepping out of the dust-shrouded area. Hashirama's expression changed, clearly surprised. The man before him had a huge fleshy wing growing from his back, and the cursed seal covering half his body emitted a molten, magma-like light. His pupils were orange-yellow, and his arms had swelled to the size of an adult's, transforming him into a monster. Is he still human? Hashirama couldn't help but wonder. Then he saw the man's fleshy wings tremble slightly, and the man, leaving a trail of afterimages, charged towards him. So fast, Hashirama was secretly shocked. Die? The man grinned, his claw piercing through Hashirama's chest. Just as he was about to tear him in two, the Hashirama in front of him suddenly turned into a wooden statue. A wood clone, although the man was in a berserk state of sage mode, he recognized Hashirama's technique. This was not a substitution jutsu, the man's real body wasn't here at all. He casually shattered the wood clone and followed the chakra fluctuations to find Hashirama's real body. Wood release. All cloth bag technique, he exposed himself before even finding Hashirama. He slammed his hands on the ground, and hundreds of large wooden hands burst from the earth, grabbing him tightly and rapidly absorbing his chakra. The man, unfazed by the restraints, sneered repeatedly, mere mortals, how strong can they be? Ridiculous. As he spoke, his fleshy wings vibrated, instantly shattering the wooden hand, then he swung his expanding claws, obliterating the remaining wooden hands one by one, displaying an invincible aura. He must be the head of the Libra clan. I've never seen such strange power before, Hashirama guessed, clapping his hands together as he continued to cast his ninjutsu, wooden human technique. Chapter 70 The Secrets of Konoha Taijutsu. As Hashirama clapped his hands, the wooden hands that had just been shattered by the Libra clan chief seemed to come alive, rapidly writhing and merging to form a wooden figure several meters tall. This figure unleashed a punch with terrifying force towards the Libra clan chief. The Libra clan chief, not to be outdone, also threw a punch to meet it. Although his arms were exaggeratedly swollen, they were clearly insignificant compared to the wooden figure, resembling only slightly thick toothpicks. Bang! The Libra clan chief was slammed into the ground by the punch, causing the earth to tremble violently. How dare a mortal compare to a sage? The Libra clan chief's voice this time was filled with intense rage. He leaped from the crater and launched a relentless attack on the wooden figure, the two engaging in a brutal, hand-to-hand combat. Bang 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 bang, the wooden figure's strength far surpassed that of the Libra clan chief. Each punch either sent him flying dozens of meters or slammed him into the ground. In an instant, the entire battlefield crumbled and split, a truly terrifying sight. Damn it, I'll tear you to pieces, the Libra clan chief went berserk. In his sage mode, his vitality was incredibly tenacious, like an unkillable cockroach. Every time he was knocked away, he would immediately bounce back, showing no signs of serious injury. Hashirama's face was serious. After this exchange, he had a general idea of the man's strength. "Suppress," he roared, manipulating the wooden figure to slam the man into the ground again, then pinning him down with his two giant hands. Birth of the tree world, numerous trees burst forth and grew wildly, forming a forest in an instant. The roots of each tree twisted and intertwined, pressing down on the Libra clan chief, amplifying the power of the entire forest to suppress him. "Let me go," the Libra clan chief roared repeatedly, struggling desperately, but unable to break free from the root's hold. Hashirama breathed a sigh of relief, feeling the outcome of the battle was decided. Just as he was preparing to go and support the other members of his clan, the Libra clan chief roared in fury, each scream more agonizing than the last, like a wild beast driven to desperation. Hashirama turned back in surprise and saw that the cursed seals that had initially covered only half of the Libra clan chief's body had now spread to his entire body, each seal radiating a scorching light. With the flashes of light, he rapidly mutated, his body suddenly swelling, each of his limbs becoming exaggeratedly thick, and a second fleshy wing sprouting from his back. "Hey, to be able to force me to this point, you mortal do have some skill," the Libra clan chief sneered maliciously. When his inhuman eyes met his gaze, Hashirama subconsciously frowned. "Isn't this the third stage of Sasuke's cursed seal transformation?" Deep underground, Jojuan stared intently at the man who had grown two fleshy wings. His interest in the Libra clan chief was growing, and he couldn't wait to interrogate him about where he obtained the sage mode ability, or even put him on an operating table for experiments. "No matter what, I must obtain the Libra clan chief's flesh and blood cells today. I must also develop the power of the cursed seal, just like Orochimaru," Jojuan thought to himself. At this moment, the Libra clan chief, with his overwhelming power, forcefully broke free of the tree root shackles and soared into the sky. His wings flapped, stirring up a vast gale that sent sand and stones flying everywhere. The Libra clan chief hovered in midair, looking down at Hashirama, despair, fear, tremble. The power of a sage is simply beyond the reach of an ant like you. Hashirama took a deep breath, realizing that a fierce battle was about to begin. His opponent, now with two wings, was several times stronger than before. The Libra clan chief continued to spout nonsense. "If I were you, I would give up resisting, because everything you've done is futile." Before he could finish speaking, Jojuan, who had been lurking underground for a long time, finally couldn't help but make his move. Shadow clone technique. Dozens of masked men in black leaped out of the ground, their target aimed directly at the Libra clan chief in midair. "What?" The Libra clan chief froze, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of these enemies. Jojuan's main body was the fastest, flashing ahead to the Libra clan chief and delivering a merciless punch to his chin. The shadow clones followed, unleashing a barrage of attacks on the Libra clan chief, their fists raining down on him, the dull thuds of flesh impacting each other echoing. Hashirama, unaware of the masked man's origins, hesitated and chose to observe, not intervening rashly. Damn it, after being hit by the shadow clones more than 10 times, the Libra clan chief finally roared in fury, his arms sweeping wildly. PFFT PFFT PFFT, this sweep instantly cleared out most of the shadow clones in front of him. Jojuan's main body seized the opportunity to circle behind him, gripping a kunai bound with explosive tags, silently chanting, "Konoha Taijutsu secret technique 1000 years of death." Jojuan ruthlessly plunged the kunai in, cruelly destroying his manhood. Boom, a violent explosion erupted, accompanied by a heart-wrenching roar. The Libra clan chief, like a butterfly with broken wings, plummeted straight down from the sky, his lower body covered in blood. Jojuan landed safely, propelled several meters away by the aftershocks of the explosion. Hashirama stared at him in disbelief. So, fighting could be like this? His mind was deeply shaken. "Brother Hashirama, this man is too violent and powerful. I've come to lend you a hand," Jojuan said in a hoarse voice, his skin thick with shame, showing no remorse for stealing the kill. The other man's intimate aggressive brother startled Hashirama, who tentatively asked, "May I ask who you are?" "I'm furious." "I'm furious," the Libra clan chief roared, interrupting him. He stumbled to his feet, staring intently at the two men before him, his hatred primarily focused on Jojuan. Natural energy spread, rapidly healing his injuries. As Jojuan sensed through Kagura's mind's eye, the Libra clan chief's weakened aura surged again, gradually returning him to his peak condition. What kind of healing ability is this? It's insane. Jojuan was secretly astonished, recalling that the Libra Hyuga of later generations also possessed superhuman self-healing abilities, and thus valued the power of the cursed seal even more. To conceal his identity, he couldn't use many ninjutsu, otherwise, that sneak attack just now would have definitely inflicted even more serious injuries on the Libra clan chief. He refused to believe that the giant Rasengan version of the 1,000 Years of Death wouldn't blast him apart. Brother Hashirama, can you temporarily trap him? I have a move that can completely kill him, Jojuan whispered. Seeing that the other party truly wanted to join forces with him, Hashirama nodded. Sure, alright, then I'll leave it to you. Jojuan stretched out his palm and began to prepare the wind release, Rasen Shuriken. Hashirama clapped his hands together. Wood dragon technique. A huge wooden dragon burst forth from beneath the Libra clan chief's feet, binding and imprisoning him while also massively absorbing his chakra. Get out of my way, the Libra patriarch struggled with all his might, his roar like thunder. Chapter 71. It wasn't me who betrayed the family, it was the family that betrayed me. The wood dragon technique was one of Hashirama's most proficient wood release ninjutsu. At his peak, he could even use it to suppress the Nine Tails alone. Even with all his might, the Libra clan leader couldn't break free for a while. A shuriken made entirely of chakra manifested in Jojuan's palm. The sharp wind-style chakra cut through his veins and flesh, causing dozens of small wounds on his arm, from which blood splattered. The wind release, Rasen Shuriken, is an S-rank ninjutsu, which not only injures the user but also requires a long preparation time. These 2 points were its biggest flaws, which were unavoidable when Jojuan developed this technique by imitating Naruto. He endured the pain in his arm, gripped the shuriken, and charged towards the Libra clan leader, slamming it heavily into him. Boom! A deafening explosion resounded. The wood dragon and the Libra clan leader exploded into fragments of flesh, and the shockwave swept through, creating a cloud of dust. Such powerful force, Hashirama's eyes gleamed, and he couldn't help but secretly admire it. This level of ninjutsu could even break through his ranking technique's defense. Finally killed him, Jojuan said in a hoarse voice, emerging from the sandstorm, blood dripping down his arm. Some of it is, the other the Libra clan leaders. Even with his strong regenerative abilities, he couldn't possibly revive after being shattered to pieces. Hashirama, hearing this, bowed respectfully, saying, "Thank you for your help." He knew perfectly well that without Jojuan's assistance, he would have had to go through considerable trouble to defeat the Libra clan leader. Jojuan shook his head. Brother Hashirama, there's no need to be so polite. I merely happened to be passing by and, seeing injustice, drew my sword to help. You know me, Hashirama asked, puzzled. He had wanted to ask earlier. Of course, Brother Hashirama, as the young clan leader of the Senju clan and one of the 7 heroes of the Warring States period, it would be a shame if I didn't know you. Jojuan spouted nonsense without hesitation. Hashirama suddenly understood, then continued to ask, may I ask which ninja clan you belong to, and what your honorable name is? Jojuan smiled nonchalantly. My ninja clan was destroyed many years ago. Now I'm just a wandering Ronin. As for my name, I don't want to mention it again. If Brother Hashirama is curious, you can call me the Masked Hero. The Masked Hero, those who knew me are all gone. The world is a stranger to me, and I am a stranger to the world. Therefore, I will no longer show my face to others. Hashirama seemed to understand, but sensed a deep sadness in the other's words. He couldn't help but imagine the other's character, a masked Ronin whose clan was destroyed, wandering the world alone, witnessing the rise and fall of the tides, with no relatives or friends, bearing the most invincible loneliness in the world. Why are you crying? Jojuan was stunned, wondering if it was a side effect of fighting with the Libra clan leader earlier. Had his brother-in-law been beaten and was crying? Hashirama quickly wiped away his tears, feeling extreme sympathy for the masked hero. He was overwhelmed with sadness simply by putting himself in the other person's shoes, unable to imagine what he would do if you were like him. I'm fine. If you don't mind, masked brother, I'd like to become sworn brothers with you. Hashirama said earnestly. Based on the other person's mysterious past, Hashirama instinctively felt that the other person was older than him, hence calling him brother. Jojuan was surprised again upon hearing this. He really wanted to say, brother-in-law, we've already become sworn brothers, although I still want to get your cells for free again. We've only met by chance. Aren't you afraid I'm a bad guy? Jojuan asked. Although his brother-in-law's persona was that of a simpleton, Jojuan didn't want his brother-in-law to develop the bad habit of becoming sworn brothers with everyone he met, lest he be deceived one day without even realizing it. Hashirama glanced at his bleeding arm and confirmed, on our first meeting, Masked Brother was willing to risk injury to help me deal with the Libra clan chief. Such chivalry and willingness to help those in need can't possibly make him a bad person. Jojuan was silent for a moment, then finally nodded and said, it's my honor to become sworn brothers with Brother Hashirama. In that case, I'll take the liberty of calling you Brother Hashirama. Masked Brother, Hashirama responded, pleased. What a mess this is. Jojuan's expression, hidden beneath his veil, was extremely complicated. He was now Hashirama's brother-in-law, his fourth brother, and his eldest brother. The relationships were a complete mess. I noticed the Libra clan chief's condition was very strange just now. A normal person couldn't possibly become like that, Jojuan said, getting down to business. Why don't we capture the Libra clan members and ask them what's going on? Okay, Hashirama agreed. He also felt that the Libra clan chief was hiding something. Not only had he transformed into a monster, but he also kept talking about some kind of immortal. The more he thought about it, the stranger it seemed. The two immediately joined the battle on their clansman's side, fighting alongside the Senju and Uchiha clansmen against the remaining soldiers. The Libra clan leader has been killed. You clansmen, surrender immediately. Don't resist, Jojuan shouted, gathering a surge of chakra. Excellent. With the Libra clan leader dead, we've got this. Lord Hashirama is truly amazing, worthy of being the young clan leader. Who is this masked man? The Senju and Uchiha clansmen were all overjoyed, especially the Uchiha clan leader. The old man was so moved he shed tears. The Libra clan vehemently denied it, refusing to believe their clan leader's death. Impossible. The clan leader possessed the power of a sage. Who could kill him? Their own battle had been quite intense, and they hadn't paid much attention to their clan leader's situation. Hashirama didn't waste any words, slamming his hands together to unleash the Minamoto Jutsu. Hundreds of large wooden hands instantly burst from the ground, capturing the Libra clan members present. This group attack ninjutsu is extremely effective. None of the Libra clan members escaped, all gripped in the palm of the giant wooden hand. The wooden hand, similar in function to the wooden dragon technique, not only bound the enemy but also absorbed their chakra. Unlike their clan leader, the Libra clan members couldn't break free with brute force. They were held tightly, feeling their strength rapidly draining away like a tide. In less than the time it takes to brew a cup of tea, their chakra was almost completely drained, leaving them listless and weak. Jojuan walked up to a Libra clan member with an exaggeratedly swollen arm and interrogated him. I ask you, why is your arm like this? And how did your clan leader become a monster? The man sneered. Will you let me go if I tell you? Jojuan said calmly. Not necessarily, you can try. The man's sneer grew even more grating. At this moment, a man behind him hurriedly shouted, Sir, I'll talk. I'm willing to talk. By Xiao, are you going to betray the clan? The Libra clan members glared angrily at the man. It wasn't me who betrayed the family, it was the family that betrayed me, the man screamed. You're all insane. I'm not going to go crazy with you. Chapter 72 The Slug Immortal. It seems there are still some rational people among the Libra clan. Jojuan originally intended to use illusion magic to hypnotize them and induce them to reveal the truth, but now he could save that eye power. He walked up to the man. What's your name? My name is Libra Bakeo. Libra Bakeo had a strong will to survive and answered all his questions without reservation. At this moment, all the clansmen had been captured, but the clan leader was nowhere to be found. Libra Bakeo believed that the clan leader might have been killed or escaped with serious injuries. In any case, no one would save him. His only hope for survival was to confess. Tell me everything you know. Yes, the story of the anomaly that occurred among our clansmen begins 30 years ago. The Libra clan leader began to recount his story, and besides Jojuan, Hashirama and the other clansmen listened attentively. 30 years ago, the land of fire was engulfed in war, compounded by natural disasters and man-made calamities, causing widespread suffering. Our Libra clan was just a small one, unable to compete with the great ninja clans. To avoid being swallowed up by other clans, our previous clan leader led us into seclusion in the mountains, far from the conflicts of the world. Not far from where we lived, there was a cave called Shikatsu Forest, inhabited by a gigantic slug sage. She was a true sage, possessing incredibly powerful sage techniques, As Libra Shirakusa finished speaking, varying degrees of surprise appeared on everyone's faces. Jojuan suddenly had a flash of insight, instantly seeing the light. His previous guess was correct. The Libra clan did indeed have close contact with one of the 3 great sacred cultivation grounds. No wonder the Libra clan leader's self-healing ability was so abnormal. The Slug Sage's strength lay in its regeneration. It turned out his sage form was modeled after the Slug Sage's sage mode. That explained everything. I remember watching anime in my past life, and some netizens speculated, based on the relationship between Tsunade and the Slug Sage, that Hashirama also practiced the sage art of Shikatsu Forest. Could it be that Hashirama back then, like now, also came into contact with Shikatsu Forest through the Libra clan's uprising? If that's the case, I'm definitely going to take advantage of this opportunity. Hashirama and the others didn't engage in much internal debate, they were simply curious about the sage. Sages are legendary figures in the ninja world. Most people have only heard of them but never seen them, so it's natural for normal people to be curious about them. Libra Whitegrass continued. The previous clan chief greatly admired the Slug Immortal and begged her to teach us immortal arts so that we could have the power to protect ourselves in this chaotic world. However, the Slug Immortal felt the previous clan chief was wicked and refused to teach him. Later, the previous clan chief passed away, and his son, Libra Wilderness, succeeded him as the new clan chief, the one who just turned into a monster. The new clan chief is extremely audacious. Since the Slug Immortal refused to teach him immortal arts, he forcibly led our clan to live in the Wetbone Forest, imitating the Slug Immortal's daily cultivation practices. Over 20 years, as time passed, our clan became irritable and easily angered. Many black curse marks appeared on our bodies, and our limbs would often uncontrollably swell. According to the Slug Immortal, our bodies absorbed too much natural energy, causing our bloodlines to mutate and producing the pseudo-immortal-like power of curse marks. Among our clansmen, only the clan leader has fully mastered the power of the Cursed Seal, allowing him to transform into a sage at any time. However, after transforming, he becomes mentally unstable, his mind filled only with the urge to kill. Some time ago, the clan leader believed he was invincible, that with the power of a sage, he could rival the major ninja clans. So he led us out of the mountains, and the first ninja clan we encountered was the Sunset Clan. The clan leader wanted to slaughter the Sunset Clan to gain fame and launched an attack. Upon hearing this, the Sunset Clan leader's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. He felt that his clan had truly had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes, inexplicably running into the crossfire of a group of madmen. I've told you everything I know, can you spare my life? Libra Hyakukeo pleaded pitifully. It's all the clan leader's fault. I didn't want to leave the mountain at first, but the clan leader forced me. Please, sir, spare our lives. The one who truly opposes you is the clan leader. We are merely his tools. Please, sir, give us a chance to start anew. One after another, Libra clan members voiced their pleas. After their chakra was absorbed by the wooden hand, they gradually regained their senses and rekindled their desire for life. Unable to make the decision, Jojuan turned to look at Hashirama. Seeing the tearful faces of the crowd, Hashirama's gaze was complex. He felt that the tragedy of war was beyond compare. Don't worry, you are prisoners now. The Senju clan doesn't kill prisoners, he said, reassuring everyone. The Yui clan leader hesitated several times, wanting to kill these thugs who had destroyed his clan's territory, but he had no right to deal with Hashirama's prisoners. Rebuilding the clan would require the Senju clan's assistance. Brother Hashirama, I think that Slug Sage is suspicious. He bestowed such evil power upon the Libra clan, he's probably not a legitimate sage. To prevent similar incidents from happening again, we should investigate his background, Jojuan suddenly suggested. He knew, of course, that the Slug Sage was kind-hearted. He was only saying this to create a suitable reason to lead Hashirama to Shikatsu Forest. Sure enough, after a moment's thought, Hashirama said earnestly, Masked Brother is right. We should indeed go see the Slug Sage. Hopefully, he didn't intentionally turn the Libra clan into this. He then looked at Libra Shirakusa. Take us to Shikatsu Forest. No problem, I know the route perfectly. Libra Shirakusa nodded repeatedly, not daring to disobey. Hashirama then arranged for his clansmen to send the wounded and prisoners back to the Senju clan's territory. He himself led a small group of clansmen, guided by Shikatsu, towards Shikatsu Forest. Jojuan, posing as Hashirama's sworn brother, legitimately infiltrated the group. Shikatsu Forest was extremely well hidden, and Shikatsu led the group along remote and rugged mountain paths, traveling for a full day and 2 nights before finally arriving at their destination. The slug sage really knows how to hide, Jojuan thought to himself. They were now in a deserted valley, which was probably outside the land of fire. Without Shikatsu's guidance, he and Hashirama would never have found their way here. Tensei Shirakusa pointed to a massive boulder weighing hundreds of tons and said, "The entrance to the Shikatsu forest is under this boulder." After the clan chief led us away that day, the slug sage, fearing we would return, blocked the entrance with this boulder. It sounded as if the slug sage was quite pathetic. He secretly used Kagura's mind's eye perception, but it couldn't penetrate the ground. Chapter 73 Five-Fold Rashomon. The ground is protected by a barrier. Not only can chakra senses not penetrate it, but even the 5 elements escape technique won't work. Jojuan quickly made a judgment, thinking that as expected of one of the 3 great sacred training grounds, it truly lived up to its reputation. The hole under the boulder might be the only entrance to the Shikatsu forest. Just as he was pondering how to move the boulder, Hashirama clapped his hands, and numerous branches sprouted wildly from the bottom of the boulder, forcefully pushing it open, revealing a hole with a radius of about 2 meters. As soon as the stone was moved, dense natural energy immediately gushed out from the hole, giving everyone a natural energy wash. Jojuan and Hashirama, with their abundant chakra, felt no discomfort in the face of the natural energy, but the Senju clan members beside them felt their chakra about to become chaotic and violent under the influence of the natural energy, which startled them. For the safety of his clansmen, Hashirama instructed them, "You take Liber Shirakusa and wait at a distance. The masked elder brother and I will go in to investigate and will be back soon." "Yes, young Master Hashirama, please be careful." The Senju clansmen obediently retreated, knowing their own strength was insufficient. If Hashirama were to fight the slug sage in the Shikatsu forest, they would not only be unable to help but would also be a hindrance. The battles of top-tier experts were not something ordinary ninjas could participate in. After the clansmen retreated, Hashirama and Jojuan jumped into the cave. At first, it was extremely narrow, but after walking several dozen steps, it gradually widened, and water overflowed. The Shikatsu forest was completely dark, pitch black, so Hashirama used wood release to create a wooden stick and then breathed fire release on it, thus making a makeshift torch. The two proceeded along the passage. The ground was damp and muddy, making it very sticky to their shoes. Along the way, they found many daily necessities left behind by the Liber clansmen. Soon after, a towering gate, several meters high, blocked their path. Hashirama shone his torch upon it, revealing a gate adorned with numerous symbols of death, its form grotesque and terrifying. Could this be the legendary Rashomon? Jojuan mused. In the widely circulated legends of the ninja world, Rashomon was the gate to life and death, and it was Hashirama's ultimate defensive technique in the original story. Hashirama had also heard of the Rashomon's legend, thinking that it was indeed the abode of a sage, possessing even something as legendary as Rashomon, making the slug sage seem even more mysterious. I hope the slug sage doesn't harbor any ill intentions, otherwise, I have no confidence in defeating a sage, Hashirama thought uncertainly. Jojuan stepped forward and pushed hard, but Rashomon remained unmoved, as if cast in bronze and iron. He estimated that he could break it open with a wind release, Reincarnation, but the cost would be too high. Brother Hashirama, your Senju clan is known for its superhuman strength, why don't you give it a try, he said. Alright, Hashirama nodded, bracing his hands against the door and exerting all his strength. Boom, the towering Rashomon gate, several meters high, was forcefully pushed open by his brute force, and sand and gravel rained down from the cave ceiling. Jojuan breathed a sigh of relief. His brother-in-law was indeed reliable. However, to his surprise, as soon as Hashirama pushed open this Rashomon gate, another one appeared immediately behind it, with different patterns than the first one. Jojuan smiled wryly. According to mythology, there are 5 Rashomon gates, which means we have to push them 5 times. It's alright, I still have strength, Hashirama volunteered, fully demonstrating what it means to be physically strong. Indeed, as Jojuan said, there were 5 Rashomon gates. After Hashirama pushed open the second one, the third one immediately appeared. In this way, Hashirama pushed open 5 Rashomon gates in a row, panting heavily, his energy greatly depleted. It's worth mentioning that after the 5th Rashomon gate was pushed open, A natural energy even more concentrated and powerful than outside the cave instantly rushed towards them. Under such a concentration of natural energy, even with Zhoujuan's strength, he felt his chakra flow become disordered, and he quickly took a deep breath to suppress the agitation. Living in this environment for over 20 years, no wonder the Libra clan has experienced bloodline mutations. I wouldn't be able to withstand it either, Zhoujuan thought to himself. Masked brother, something's not right in here, be careful, Hoshirama warned seriously. It seemed the natural energy was also affecting him. Yet, let's go. The two continued forward, the torches still burning, indicating that the oxygen in the Shikatsu forest was plentiful, and the path was wet and slippery. Suddenly, an unpleasant female voice rang in their ears. Libra era, what brings you here again? Give up. I will never teach you sage mode, Not Libra era. The two exchanged a glance. Hoshirama held his torch and shone it forward, revealing a massive, blue and white slug standing in the darkness, its eyes fixed on them. So it's Ashura. What are you doing in my Shikatsu forest? The slug sage asked. Ashura? Hoshirama was puzzled and turned to Zhoujuan, asking, Masked brother, is your name Ashura? Zhoujuan shook his head. No, perhaps she's calling you. Hoshirama also shook his head. My name is Senju Hoshirama. Then who is she calling? I don't know. That's strange. It is quite strange. Listening to their conversation, the slug sage fell silent. After a moment, she suddenly understood. So many years have passed, Ashura is long dead. This chakra aura is probably Ashura's reincarnation. After figuring it out, the slug sage cleared his throat and continued, what brings you two to my Shikatsu forest? Zhoujuan, being more tactful, stepped forward politely and said, Greetings, Sage Senpai. My name is Masked Hero, and this is my sworn brother, Senju Hoshirama. The thing is, we were recently attacked by the Libra clan, who have been living in seclusion for many years. They transformed into monsters and were extremely ferocious, but fortunately, we managed to defeat them in the end. The Libra clan told us that their sage mode power came from you, Sage. Therefore, my brother and I came here to visit you, Sage, to ask if the Libra clan attacked us at your behest. If we have offended you in any way, please forgive us. Hoshirama nodded his head vigorously beside him, like a chicken pecking at rice, indicating yes, yes, yes. The slug sage was silent for a moment before speaking. You've misunderstood. I didn't order the Libra clan to attack you. I didn't even know who you were before today. Then did the Libra clan obtain the power from you, senior? This time, the slug sage remained silent for a long time before finally sighing. Indeed, it came from me. I'm sorry, I didn't know they would do such a thing. Chapter 74 Transmitting Immortal Techniques. Zhoujuan was secretly delighted upon hearing this. What he wanted to hear was the slug immortal's apology. Regardless, he needed to pin the blame for the Libra tribe's atrocities on the slug immortal, making her feel guilty. This would give her a legitimate reason to later request to learn immortal techniques. The slug immortal, unaware of Zhoujuan's scheme, continued apologetically. Many years ago, the Libra tribe begged me to teach them immortal arts. I thought their intentions were impure and never agreed. But they insisted on staying in the wet-bone forest, and I couldn't drive them away. Over the years, their bodies have absorbed too much natural energy, which is equivalent to indirectly gaining some of my power. I see, Zhoujuan said, feigning relief. I thought we had angered the sage, causing him to order the Libra clan to punish us. Turns out I was completely mistaken. This has nothing to do with him. Hoshirama breathed a sigh of relief. Before coming to Shikatsu forest, he was afraid the slug sage, being of evil nature, would use the pretext of teaching sage mode to corrupt others. Since she was a good sage, he had nothing to worry about. The slug sage, however, felt even more guilty. She understood that the masked hero was intentionally speaking on her behalf. The Libra clan's evil deeds were not entirely unrelated to her. At the very least, the Libra clan obtained their sage mode power from her, so she bore some responsibility. Alice, the Libra clan obtained their power from me. I also bear some fault, she said sadly. Zhoujuan comforted her. Senior, there's no need to blame yourself. You saw that the Libra clan was wicked, and you upheld your principles by not teaching them immortal arts. That's already very righteous and kind. If anyone's to blame, it's the Libra clan for being so despicable. They shamelessly harassed you for over 20 years, cunningly seizing your immortal power, something you certainly didn't want. If I had known about this sooner, I would definitely have come to help you drive away those villains. The slug immortal felt a strange fondness for Zhou, finding his words both reasonable and agreeable. Yes, she was just a slug, what wrong could she possibly have done? It was all the Libra clan's fault. Not only did they occupy her wet-bone forest, but they also ruined her reputation. Senior, rest assured, once my brother and I return, we will definitely clear up the misunderstanding and tell everyone that the Libra clan's misdeeds have absolutely nothing to do with you, Zhou continued. The slug immortal felt a warmth in her heart. Then thank you very much, you're too kind, Senior, Zhou smiled faintly. It's an honor for us brothers to serve you. Actually, when the Libra clan first told me about your deeds, I didn't believe that immortals existed in the world. But after witnessing your beautiful face just now, I'm convinced, only a being as beautiful and powerful as you, Senior, is qualified to be called an immortal. The slug immortal's heartbeat quickened involuntarily. She couldn't tell whether she was happy or joyful. This was the first time in her long life that she had heard a human use the word beautiful to describe her. It felt very strange. Could such a small human really appreciate the beauty of a slug? I'm embarrassed by what you said, the slug immortal said weakly. Although she had lived for a long time. She had lived in the wet-bone forest since attaining enlightenment, and her contact with the outside world was very rare. Her mind was as simple as a little girl's. I'm just stating the facts, Zhou said with a smile, appearing equally innocent and harmless. Suddenly, he paused, hesitant to speak. Now that the investigation into the Libra clan is complete, my brother and I should take our leave, Senior. However, I have a request, but I'm unsure if I should, the slug sage asked curiously. What is it? Senior saw that the Libra clan members were wicked, so you didn't teach them sage arts. My brother and I are pure and kind people. If we were to ask you for instruction in sage arts, I wonder if you would agree. Zhou's tone was conflicted, as if he found it difficult to speak. Upon hearing this, regardless of the slug sage's reaction, Hoshirama was certainly startled. He hadn't expected his sworn brother to be so bold as to directly ask a senior sage for instruction in sage arts. This was completely different from their original purpose. And would the senior sage even agree? What if he got angry? Hoshirama, his emotions stirred, looked anxiously at the slug sage, who seemed to be deep in thought. The slug sage was indeed pondering. Though simple-minded, she could sense the good and bad intentions in others. Hoshirama was a given. As the reincarnation of Ashura, his character was absolutely trustworthy. However, this masked man was a different story. The slug sage had discovered many secrets about him, including sensing his inner thoughts and learning that his motives for learning sage mode were not pure, even similar to those of the previous Libra clan leader. It's worth noting that the previous Libra clan leader pleaded with her until his death, but the slug sage never granted his request. The slug sage initially wanted to refuse Zhou, but recalling his seemingly reasonable and pleasant words, she couldn't bring herself to say no. Such a person should be a good person, but his motives weren't pure. Just as she was caught in this dilemma, a thought flashed through her mind. To be sworn brothers with a reincarnation of Ashura, he must undoubtedly be a good person. Even if his motives for learning sage techniques weren't pure, how impure could they be? Yes, that's it. She would teach him sage techniques simply because he was a good person, regardless of how pleasant his words were. You two brothers are indeed pure and kind people, the slug sage finally said in a clear, feminine voice, no longer hesitant. Besides, finding this place is a kind of fate between us. Teaching you sage techniques isn't impossible. Thank you so much for agreeing, senior sage. We are deeply grateful for your kindness in imparting your teachings. Zhou was overjoyed and thanked her repeatedly. Hoshirama, however, was completely bewildered, not quite understanding. The slug sage was willing to teach him sage techniques? But I feel like I didn't do anything. The masked guy did all the communication the whole time. If I learn sage techniques, will I become a sage too? Don't be too happy yet, said the slug sage, trying to sound like a strict teacher. I can only teach you the methods of cultivating sage techniques. As for how far you can go, that depends entirely on your own efforts and comprehension, of course, Zhou echoed. The master leads you in, but the cultivation is up to you. I believe that with the guidance of a senior sage, even a stone can become enlightened. This subtle flattery pleased the slug sage greatly. In the long past, who had ever praised him like this? Yes, we two brothers will definitely cultivate diligently and not disappoint our senior sage, Hoshirama said earnestly. Then listen carefully, I'll begin teaching. Chapter 75 The secret is exposed. A ninja's chakra is formed by mixing the body's spiritual energy and physical strength. As for sage art, it's based on this foundation, absorbing natural energy and perfectly blending the three energies together. To cultivate sage art, the first thing you need to do is absorb natural energy. As the slug sage explained, Jojuan and Hashirama gradually understood the cultivation process of sage art. Hashirama knew that sage art wasn't easy to master and would take a long time, so he created a wood clone and sent it away from Shikatsu Forest to return to the clan's territory with his clansmen and Tenpyo Shirakusa who were waiting outside. Jojuan had already left shadow clones outside. Shadow clones could handle most things, so there was no need to worry about his disappearance causing trouble. He focused entirely on studying the mysteries of sage art. The cultivation process of sage art was extremely tedious, but the tedium was secondary. The main problem was how demoralizing it was. Hashirama, as expected of the sage body of Ashura's reincarnation, was able to integrate natural energy into his body in perfect proportions in less than a day, while Jojuan hadn't even touched the threshold yet. 5 days later, Hashirama completed the process of fusing with natural energy and began attempting sage mode, while Jojuan was still figuring out the basics. 10 days later, with the help of the slug sage, Hashirama could enter sage mode, but he couldn't maintain it for long. Jojuan, too, finally reached the threshold. Seeing his brother-in-law's majestic sage mode appearance, Jojuan was practically a lemon with envy. They had started on equal footing, yet he was left far behind. He couldn't help but lament that people couldn't compare. Jojuan knew he couldn't compete with a cheat code, so he could only make up for it with hard work. But the key was that Hashirama's training was just as rigorous as his own. The competition was so fierce it left no room for ordinary people. 20 days later, Hashirama had basically mastered sage techniques. Even without the slug sage's help, he could enter sage mode on his own. Jojuan, having finally reached the threshold, diligently fused with natural energy, not daring to slack off in the slightest. For some reason, he always felt it was difficult to absorb natural energy. At this rate, it would probably take him a year and a half to complete the initial preparation stage. A month later, Hashirama had completely mastered sage mode. After a few seconds of brief guidance, he could enter sage mode at any time. Thank you for your guidance over the past month, Sage Master. If you ever need my help in the future, I will certainly not refuse. Hashirama was extremely grateful to the slug sage after completing his training. He could feel how powerful he was now. If he used wood release in sage mode, he could easily defeat the Libra clan chief from that day. The slug sage said with satisfaction, "You have good talent, so you learn quickly. I have nothing more to teach you now. Remember to practice diligently after you go back and improve your proficiency in sage mode. Natural energy exists everywhere, only varying in concentration." "I understand," Hashirama nodded solemnly. He then looked at his sworn brother, who was staring expectantly beside him, and said somewhat embarrassedly, "Masked brother, I've been away for too long. I have to go back to my clan to handle some affairs." Jojuan waved his hand weakly. "Go on, I'll come find you at the Senju clan's territory after I finish learning sage mode." He didn't want to see Hashirama again. Facing such a powerful opponent was too despairing. He had been suffering blows every day for the past month. "This is the Rashomon contract scroll, Hashirama. Sign your name on it, and you can summon Rashomon anytime you need it," the slug sage suddenly said, tossing out a scroll. "I haven't repaid the kindness of my senior in teaching me sage mode yet. How can I accept something from him?" Hashirama was an honest man and politely declined. When he first arrived at Shikatsu Forest, he had pushed open 5 Rashomon gates in a row and knew how sturdy they were. "There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm giving it to you voluntarily," the slug sage said calmly. "I prefer peace and quiet. As long as you don't reveal the location of Shikatsu Forest to anyone after you leave, and don't bother me again, that will be your way of repaying me, brother Hashirama. The slug sage is being very kind to you. It would be ungrateful of you not to accept her kindness," Jojuan advised. Hashirama had no choice but to bow and thank her. "In that case, I will respectfully accept." He then bit his finger, using his blood as ink, and signed his name on the contract scroll. The slug sage was deeply moved by this. After so many years, she had once again formed a karmic bond with Ashura, but things had changed. Ashura was no longer the Ashura of the past. After Hashirama took his leave, only Jojuan, the slug sage, and a crackling torch remained in the cave. "I'm sorry, Sage Master. I'm so stupid and have embarrassed you, Zhou said shamefully, worried that the slug sage would dislike him. The slug sage remained silent. The longer her silence lasted, the more uncertain Zhou felt. Hashirima's situation is special, you can't compare it to him, the slug sage said. Zhou breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. However, the slug sage's next words made his heart tighten again. As for whether your talent is stupid, we'll only know once you break the seal on your body. Zhou's expression stiffened for a moment, then he smiled bitterly. Senior, you noticed, on the first day you and Hashirima arrived at Shikatsu Forest, I knew you had a seal on you, and your current appearance isn't your true form, it's a transformation technique, isn't it? The slug sage said calmly. This was why she had suspected Zhou's intentions that day, but in the end, she had convinced herself otherwise. My petty tricks couldn't fool you, Senior. Having his secret exposed, Zhou simply abandoned his disguise, dispelling his transformation technique and revealing his true appearance to the slug sage. As mentioned before, his transformation technique had been improved, combining it with a sealing technique to fix his transformed form, making it impossible for even the Sharingan and Byakugan to see through his disguise. And your eyes also have a sealing technique, the slug sage continued. Zhou, this time, he was silent. For the first time, he felt the slug sage was terrifying. In her presence, he felt completely exposed, all his secrets laid bare. His desire to learn sage arts overcame everything, and finally, he released the seals on both eyes, his left eye a Mangekyo Sharingan, his right a demon eye. He didn't know how the slug sage, now knowing his greatest secret, would view him. To learn sage arts, he had no choice but to be completely honest with her. The worst outcome, anyway, would be being driven out of Shikatsu Forest by the slug sage. The slug sage had lived in seclusion in Shikatsu Forest for over 1,000 years, there was no way he would go out and report him for no reason. The masked man's eyes are so strange, unlike those of normal people. Is that why he sealed his eyes? At the same time, the slug sage was also having his own thoughts. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all, see you in the next video.